We are broadcasting again.
Okay, well, now that we've got that little tech uh, hiccup straightened out,
Do we?
let's
Let
get
me.
back to the next step in character creation, which is pride. What is Lena's pride?
I haven't picked one yet.
Okay, we'll get back to you. What is Tony's pride?
Yep.
Same. I'm not sure.
Okay, Daniel? Do we have a pride for Daniel?
So I'm the smartest kid in school, and I know it.
Okay. How about Courtney?
Courtney's pride is I stood up for my friend.
Okay. Let's get back to Lena. Have you thought of anything?
Um,
Pride is pride is basically um something that makes your character feel strong. It's something you're confident about. Something
Okay.
you're just makes you sit up a little straighter.
okay. Um, I didn't really like the ones that they gave in the book.
Okay. Right?
That's
You can
why I
pick something
hadn't picked
else.
one. How about I can take care of myself?
Okay. Okay.
Within certain limitations. I mean, it's not
Right.
like she can do laundry, but she can feed herself, get herself dressed, get herself to the bus stop, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Right. Right.
So self-sufficiency.
An 11-year-old could do laundry.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I wish I could have told my kids that they could. Anyways,
Yep. Yep. So she is self-sufficient.
okay. And how about Tony?
People see me as I want to be seen.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Nice. That is a power, especially in middle school.
Okay. The next step is defining your relationships with the other kids and to the NPCs. Before we go any further, do we want to have any siblings in the group? Given that they're all really close in age, I think the most likely would be that Lena could be somebody's little sister if we wanted to do that. But we don't have to.
I'm going to say no for mine
Okay.
because I'm saying he moved to town in this
Recently.
last year.
Okay. All right. Do we want to do that for Courtney or Daniel?
What do you think,
Um,
Christiana?
Well, so one of the relationships to NPCs that I picked relates to an older sister, but that doesn't mean that I
Okay.
couldn't have a younger sister also.
Right. And in fact, if you wanted the older sister one, I have one for you. Her name is Lydia.
Okay. So I mean, we obviously they don't have to be siblings, but what do you think, Lee? Do you want us to be sisters, or you think better to? Because the other thing is, if we're sisters, that means you inherit my our parents are about to divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get embroiled in that, even if it's not your trouble.
Yeah.
It's still something. Still a situation that you're embroiled in.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Okay, I mean, because it just kind of everything builds on each other that way, right? It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
because my older sister is now your older sister too, right? So, but you have your own, maybe that your type and your self-sufficient thing. Maybe you've always kind of been a little bit more on your own, whereas I'm feeling a little bit more abandoned by the people that used to be more of a support network to me.
Right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Tony, what kind of relationships can we define for you? Let's put it this way. It looks like David has frozen again for me at
Uh-oh.
least.
Yeah.
Let's go with Daniel. What kind of relationships we want us to define for Daniel?
Okay, so we have relationships to other kids, right?
Mhm.
So choose one for each other kid or make up one on your own. Okay. So you're a rocker,
Mm-hmm.
Christiana?
Yeah.
Um,
Which basically just means I really identify with, music and like I'm sort of like the arty kid.
You're the
who
arty
carry.
kid.
I have I dress all in black, including a denim jacket that was blue, and until I dyed it black badly, and I carry a boombox around, that sort of thing.
Okay, because I'm debating either best friends or different but still friends, trying to figure out which would be the better one. I mean, we're the older kids. I do
Yeah,
want to
I
kind
mean,
of
you
like
guys
team
are in
up.
the same grade. You see each
Right.
other more
So
often than you do the other
r-
ones.
right. So what do you think? Are we different but still friends, or are we best friends?
I'm sorry, I'm just distracted by technical stuff. So,
Okay.
okay, so I think my character is very much a sort of angry at the world but hard on her sleeve type.
Hmm.
And so I am absolutely the sort of character who frequently gets into trouble by butting into situations where I'm otherwise not involved. Because I believe very strongly in what's the right thing, and so like the pride of standing up for my friend, you know, I imagine that if I see other kids getting bullied, I just
Okay,
wade
well,
into those
I
situations.
think, I think a good relationship that kind of pulls right out is Courtney has stood up for Tony.
That's kind of what I
Yeah.
was thinking actually, but I was just trying to give a little bit more of a sense of what I was thinking for my character. So I don't know, Paul, what do you think about that?
Okay. I mean, I could see it either way. Either that I try to make a bond based on the fact that I understand music is math and math is cool, so music is cool, or you're very different because there's that whole angry at the world, but I still like you. So I think I can go with the latter. I think we are different but still friends.
We had David back briefly, but hopefully,
Lost him
hopefully
again.
that'll recover soon. Um, okay, hopefully. So yeah, I think so. My character. Then, are you back with us, David? I don't know if you hear us yet. We don't hear you.
You're muted.
I think I'm back here.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yes, we
um,
can hear you now.
yeah, so Lena's my little sister, but she mostly takes care of herself. Um, I stood up for Tony. For Daniel, maybe I just sort of like none of us are like the popular kids in our grade,
That's true.
and
In
so
different ways.
yeah, and so maybe it's just kind of um, like uh, we just kind of bonded in our rejection of what the the normies in our class
Agreed.
think is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that works.
uh, so I could say, um, together, Daniel and I reject what the normal world thinks is cool, or if you think that's true of Daniel. I don't want to put that on you.
I mean, Daniel lives in video games and calculators and things
Oh,
like that. So
how,
yeah.
well, how about this? In maybe instead of it could be something that's not necessarily true about you, but that my character kind of puts on you.
Okay.
Like, you're the one that listens to me rant about how messed up everything is. Does that seem
Yeah, I
right?
could go with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Just the absorption of information and the troubles of the world and things I haven't even thought of that you've gone down into deeper rabbit holes to complain about.
Yeah. Okay. Daniel is the
Yeah.
only one who listens to my rants.
Okay. How about Daniel and Tony? How do they get along?
Oh, that's a good question.
And we've
I
already
mean-
established that when Tony gets bullied, Courtney's the one who stands up for him. How does Daniel react to that situation?
I think I mean Tony's a year younger, correct?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the whole getting bullied for what you are is kind of puts in the whole like that feels really resonant and maybe uncomfortably so. It's like I've been through that I don't want to repeat that, although I'm still a kind of outsider. So it's kind of like he feels for him, but he's not the Courtney standing up for him necessarily, but kind of like almost
You-
like a passive shield to prevent worse on him. Not, I mean,
How about this? I got an idea. How about
Go ahead.
he feels empathy for him, but he knows that if he gets too involved, he'll get some of that bullying onto him.
that
Will
sounds
attract
good.
attention, and he
Yeah.
kind of does. He kind of wants to stay under the radar a little.
I like
Right.
that. That works.
Okay.
Okay, so do I write any of that down on mine, or?
Yeah. But basically we're defining the relationships between pairs of characters.
Right.
All right,
But
so-
remember,
Um,
relationships are not necessarily symmetrical, right? Like you,
No,
you
no,
don't
yeah,
necessarily
yeah.
both write the same thing. So
Right.
like,
Yeah.
so
So how does Tony feel about how Daniel fails to stand up for him and Courtney does?
Ooh.
Well, one second. I know that Courtney will stand up to me for
not
With
to you,
bullies.
for you.
For you.
I
me.
intervened
Yeah,
when
stand
you were
up
being
for
bullied.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Tony sees that it's kind of shielding without shielding kind of thing. Tony basically he understands what's going on Yeah.
Okay.
With who? What do you mean?
with Daniel.
Okay, I
Like
see.
we're so
Okay. So that's kind of got the older kids handled, sort of. There may be some missing pieces there, but let's get to Lena. First of all, how does Lena, who's really kind of an outdoorsy kid, how does she feel about Courtney?
It's like Courtney's the kind to just kind of sit in her room and have her headphones on and sit in the bed or something like that, or how
I would guess too that there might be a situation where we used to play more, and then I grew up, and all of a sudden I'm moody and weird instead of another
Yeah.
kid like you.
yeah. So I think probably Lena thinks that Courtney has just gotten weird, whereas Lydia is just old.
Well, Lydia is 16.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
like I
And-
said, she's just old.
She's complete. She would much rather just be an only child, and thinks that she's not only smarter, better, faster, and cooler than both of you two, but kind of just doesn't even like to recognize that you exist. Anytime that Lena and Courtney find their way into her circle, she's very disdainful, and she spends a lot more of her time with her friends than she does at home.
Yeah. So Lydia is old and boring.
Yeah. And since she apparently, then since both of them live in apparently the most dysfunctional family in the group,
Yeah.
it's it's easy to do. How does Lena feel about the boys in the group? Paul and Daniel and Tony.
I have something I'd like to propose for
Okay.
Okay.
for
All right.
Lena. It's like Lena and Tony have gone on adventures.
Yeah, I think because Tony is about secrets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tony is my finding all the secrets buddy.
Okay. Okay. And how about Daniel?
I would think that I think Daniel is more. I think from her perspective, Daniel is more Courtney's friend,
Okay.
and that they spend more time together. So there's, she knows he exists. She knows he's kind of an indoor guy. He doesn't like to go out and
Yeah,
have adventures. So
So you don't really understand him very well.
Yeah.
He's kind of a mystery to you.
the outside's where you get dirty and like messy, and that's like I mean, you drop your calculator in the dirt and it just stops working. Why do you want to go outside for? All the fun's inside.
Okay. So I don't have much written down for Daniel. You listen to Courtney rant.
Yeah.
How does that make Daniel feel when Courtney goes on a rant?
It's kind of like, I mean, Daniel is kind of like all about learning about things and solving puzzles and trying to. He also wants to fix. So listening on the rant, he's trying to figure out the answers to Courtney's problems and complaints, although they're too complicated for him to do so. So it's kind of like, he kind of acts like a sponge around Courtney. Like what am I going to learn from Courtney this time?
Okay. Okay. And how does he see Tony?
Again, the whole passively trying to help him as much as he can, but not trying to get so much as to go back into the doldrums of getting bullied like Tony is. It's almost like he's masking, to use a contemporary phrase, he's masking up a bit around Tony to avoid getting the contagion. I mean, he feels for him. He doesn't want him to get hurt, but he's also looking a little bit for himself as well. So I mean, he's 13 now. He's getting older. He's starting to get into the opposite sex. So I mean, so it's a little like he doesn't want to be seen as being immature, especially to her.
Okay. Okay. And how does he feel about Lena?
Lena's is Courtney's younger sister who goes running around on adventures. That's I mean, if she finds something cool, that's fine. If she finds something interesting, I bring something that could be interesting. But going out running on those adventures is not usually his mode of operation.
Okay. All right. External relationships. We've already introduced Lena. Lydia. So I'm going to introduce an uncle. His name's Midas. He's kind of a bum. He works in a scrapyard. Would we better off with Daniel or Tony as the nephew of this fellow?
I can take him because he might find interesting things in the scrapyard for Daniel to play with and try to figure out.
Okay.
I mean, Daniel's not old enough yet to be a gearhead for cars, but he could be pushed in that direction.
Here's the okay. Midas is Daniel's uncle. One time, Midas dropped by your house for a family gathering, and he gave Daniel a piece of electronics, an old piece of circuit board,
Ooh.
and it's got the logo of the loop on it.
Ooh. I like it.
He doesn't know what it does or how it works. He doesn't need to know if it works, but he said, maybe you can just, it's a paperweight. It doesn't do anything, but here you go. And Daniel, who likes puzzles, has always kind of kept it around to poke at, and maybe someday he can get the tools to figure out what it does.
Yeah. That's a nice legacy. I like that.
Okay. And
Because it could be relevant to stuff, I had also said for NPC too that strange scientist Diane Peterson is my aunt, but that doesn't mean I like her. I don't know
Okay.
if that plays into your plans. That was one of the ones from the sheet, the book.
okay, that's fine. It could conceivably come in depending on how things go. How about now we need one for Tony.
Well, what I came up with was a older theater NPC has fascinating talks with him in the booth during shows.
Okay.
Like, he's not one, he likes going to the theater for movies, but most likely he's actually going to go there and when that particular person's working and just talk about things and stuff.
Okay. You're friends with the projectionist.
Yeah.
Who's an old guy named George. In fact, you don't even know his last name. He's just this old guy named George. Let's see. Now we have Lydia for both Lena and Courtney, but I imposed that on you. So if you want to add another NPC for Lena, that's fine. And same goes for Daniel.
Okay, let's see.
Let's see. Oh, here's a good one.
Okay.
And Courtney will like this. I've seen that stranger, the former rock singer Mikey Hayes, sneaking around in the forest near the company in AI.
I think I just don't believe you. Like you've told me that maybe because like you thought I would be excited by it, but I just don't. That can't be true.
What's his name?
Mikey Hayes, Mikeyhayes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's because you're dumb.
I'm so hung up on the idea that this town is so boring that nothing that exciting could possibly happen.
And you rant to me about this at length. At length.
Yeah. Lena's just trying to impress me or something.
Why do I need to impress you? You're my older sister. You have to put up with me.
And finally, we need an anchor. Who is Lena's anchor?
Her mom.
Okay. Who is Tony's anchor?
It's grandma.
Does she live with him, or is she somewhere else in town?
Oh, when he moved to town, he moved in with his grandma.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, who's Daniel's anchor?
Mrs. Meineke, the science teacher.
Okay. Because school is not in session, in order to make her accessible, I'm going to say that over the school year, she would because the school's computer had broken down
Mhm.
and you needed to finish a project, she let you come over to her house to use hers.
That works.
So
She has a computer. She has a real computer.
she has a real, and it's not just, you know, TRS-80 or something. It's it's a real computer, and it has the Loop logo on it.
There's some secrets there for sure.
And Courtney, who's Courtney's anchor?
The guy who runs the record store, or cassettes is the big thing now. So much more portable than records.
Right, but he probably disagrees with you about cassettes because he's probably seriously into vinyl.
Oh, it's one of those.
I'm trying to think though, yeah, maybe. I was thinking did the whole. I always think of the extreme vinyl enthusiasts as almost being a little bit of a throwback. Like cassettes were the new cool thing, and then it was only after a while that there was a backlash. Maybe I'm misremembering.
There was always people, every time a new thing came out, 8-track, cassettes, CDs, digital, there were always people who said,
Okay.
no,
Well, so
vinyl.
in any case, though,
the only way.
he's the one that tells me all about the new
Yeah.
bands. He's the one that'll always listen to me. But it is the whole vinyl cassette thing is definitely the thing that the two of us disagree on. He insists on vinyl, but he's like, I can't. But Courtney's like, I can't carry vinyl around in my pocket.
So what's his name?
Eddie Lubchek.
Okay. Now we've got some names, and let's.
I do have a question. Should I have
Okay.
a second NPC for my character?
Yeah, you can have another one.
Well, if I don't
I
need
gave
one,
you I gave you your Uncle Midas, but
I have Uncle Midas.
that's Daniel.
Yeah.
oh, it's Daniel. Okay, right. Yeah, I know you have the Tony has the theater projectionist, George,
Yeah.
and you have your anchor is your grandma. So you don't need to have a second one.
Okay.
There's ones that I've kind of handed out, but I only have the two, Lydia and Midas.
Okay.
So
That's fine. I'm
yeah.
okay with moving
but
on then.
Daniel actually could use another one that you choose.
All right, so let's maybe look at this real quick. All right, so relationships. I think another peer might actually be useful in this situation.
Okay.
So so the other kid who's into computers into the school besides me is his name is Peter. So we get along like a house on fire. Although he's even more serious than I am. I mean, if you think like the show Frasier, like if I'm Frasier, he's Niles.
Okay. So he's the kid who has like a notebook that he's writing programs in, while he's in class.
Yes, he goes.
And then-
he takes it to 11.
And then as soon as he goes home, and he has a computer at home, and he's just on it as soon as he gets home. And you associate with him at school, but to say it's social is kind of
I think I'm smarter than he is, but he's much more dedicated and focused than I could
Right.
ever be.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How about if he built his own computer?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there were kits in those days. So yeah, so he built his own.
Yeah.
I like that. Lee.
He built his
Let's
own
go with
computer.
that.
Okay. I think that's a good set of relationships. We've got anchors, we've got names. Let's go through and nail down descriptions. You've already described Courtney. dressed all in black, badly dyed denim jacket.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think she has short blonde hair, and it's short, almost like a boy's cut. And it was specifically because she wanted to dye it black, and her parents said no, so she cut it off out of spite.
okay. Um, how about Lena?
All right. I think Lena's naturally brown haired, but she spent so much time outside that it turned her hair blonde.
Okay, okay. Sun bleached hair, probably freckles. Got a tan that ends at the sleeve.
Yep, and she has at least one Band-Aid on her somewhere.
Okay, all right. Probably has hiking boots and shorts with lots of pockets. What decorates her shirt?
Um, the girliest freaking unicorn you can imagine.
Okay.
It
All right.
is it is a dark purple shirt with sparkly rainbow with a sparkly unicorn with rainbow hair, and
Yeah.
the rainbow hair is all sparkly. I mean, it's just like the front of her shirt is just nothing but sparkles.
Lisa Frank all the way.
Yes.
She shed glitter.
Yes. Well, she used to shed glitter, but she's pretty much shed most of it by now. So what's on there is just where the glue really, really stuck.
It's been through the washing machine a couple times.
Yeah.
What does Daniel look like?
Daniel wears a collared button-down shirt. He once wore a pocket protector, but he got beat up for it, so he took it off and never wore it ever again. Glasses, black hair, bowl cut hair, thin and lanky.
Okay, and how about Tony?
He wears a pot on his head, like a you know,
A
cookie
pot?
pot. He has worn and patched clothing. If there's any logos or anything on it, it's like 5-10 years old. Obviously secondhand store kind of thing. And it's long black hair.
Okay.
Have you explained the pot to us?
Yeah, what's with the pot?
He avoids giving specific answers.
I'm
Right.
just thinking.
So it's a puzzle.
You would get asked a lot, is my point.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you wearing the pot though?
Because
Maybe he answers for protection.
just in case.
Yeah.
Those kinds of answers.
Fair enough.
Okay. Now, one thing that is not in the character creation list, but I think is important, is you have an iconic item. Actually, let's keep going by the list. Okay. I was going to ask you to. One of the things on the list is to choose your favorite song. I have spent the last 2 months writing this adventure steeped in 80s music, but if you're not ready to pick one, that's fine. We can skip this part. I think it's not as important. But I think Christiana, your rock hair definitely has.
Oh,
a
for
favorite
sure.
song.
No, I've got some.
Oh, yeah.
I've got some. I decided that depending on whether I am more sad or more angry, it's either Tainted Love by Soft Cell or We're Not Gonna Take It from Twisted Sister.
Okay. Okay. Does Tony have a favorite song?
Safety dance.
Okay. Daniel, does Daniel have his favorite song?
Go back to Lena. I'm still narrowing down my
Okay.
choice.
Okay. Lena, what is Lena's favorite song?
Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds.
Okay.
Okay, so Daniel being kind of out of the ordinary a little bit. His favorite song is actually "A Day in the Life" by the Beatles.
Okay. Next thing
And-
we do is to,
And I imagine I keep trying to tell Courtney that the Beatles are the best group ever. And she probably does not
okay.
stand for it.
Grandpa.
where is the group's hideout?
Hmm.
It's now keep in mind that the terrain here is scrubby desert. There's not woods unless somebody put one there on purpose. There's not much in the way of greenery unless somebody is actively maintaining it. So if you have a hideout, it's probably in something man-made, not like a tree fort.
Oh, how about like a kind of almost like some jutting out rocks that
Okay.
maybe dug a pit underneath.
My only
There-
hesitation there is that it doesn't really seem in keeping with some of our indoor kid vibes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was.
so I think we need a building.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about like a ramshackle shed that was kind of large, like they were building something, and then they lost the money, so the shed is just standing there.
The idea that came to my mind is a closed, like no longer in operation gas station.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay.
Yeah, that works. That's
I'm
also
going to
just using
add
some
a little detail to your abandoned gas station. Um, there's a set of quote unquote pumps there.
Mm-hmm.
There's the normal like leaded and super premium pump, and then there is another pump that has the Loop logo on it. And instead of having a valve to dispense liquid, it's got a plug with 5 prongs on it.
Ooh, now that's interesting.
Now the insides of it are all gutted. There's no like electronics or anything inside it anymore. But the housing is still there, and the door kind of flaps open, and it's a little rusty. But one of the things that characterizes Simon Stalenhag's art is that there's abandoned weird tech all over the place, as from the image that you see here.
Yeah.
The Loop has been there for a while, and it's kind of left its mark on the landscape. So you've got a hideout in an old gas station, and this is before every gas station had a convenience store. So there's like a little office area and with and some restrooms in the back that don't work anymore. And that's really all there is to it. But it's and the reason that it's abandoned is that the road that it's on got closed on the far end, and all the traffic stopped going by it. So it's also it's in the suburbs, it's in amongst everything, it's within biking distance, but it's also it's kind of isolated. It's kind of it's almost got like a somebody else's problem field around it. Everybody overlooks it. You can park your bikes in the back and nobody knows you're there. It's a safe place.
I was imagining maybe it looks like it is completely secured and locked up tight, but maybe Tony and Lena found a secret way in.
Right. Yeah. There's a loose panel somewhere where you can crawl inside. And you have this is where you keep all your cool stuff. Anything you don't want your family to find, anything you don't want your friends to know about except your closest friends, this is where it happens. In the rules, the hideout is entirely your turf. Nothing happens there except what you guys want to have happen. I don't intrude on it. So let's get to a few questions.
We didn't do iconic item.
Yes, let's do the iconic item. It's what's weird is it's not on the list, but yes. What is Courtney's iconic item?
It is a boombox all the way. You know,
Okay.
cassette player with the speakers, the kind that you can carry around with a handle, takes 4C batteries or something.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. What's Tony's?
Well,
Aside, I mean, could be his pot,
eh,
or that can be just an item of fashion, and you take something else. You want some time to think?
I'm gonna say a razor blade.
A razor
Ooh.
blade.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's
An old-fashioned razor, the kind with a handle.
Yeah, kind of like a smaller straight razor kind of thing.
Right. Okay. Not a safety razor.
No.
Yeah. Okay. What's Lena's iconic item?
Crowbar.
A crowbar.
Yes,
Wow.
that is how that loose panel.
Got
Got
loose. Okay. And what is Daniel's?
Because we discussed it before, and I like the idea so much. It's his Rubik's cube.
Okay. All right.
I mean, like today, when people with fidget spinners and stuff, I think he fidgets with it whenever he's like nervous, especially when thinking about her or talking about her. It's like let me solve my puzzle. Let me solve a puzzle. And make me calm down.
Oh, hang on. You keep mentioning her. Did we establish who that is?
Yes, that's my problem. Erica
Yeah,
Hall, she doesn't know I exist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I guess
Yeah.
I didn't
Her.
hear that we got
Yeah,
a name
I
for
keep
that
capitalizing
person.
her like her.
You
Yes.
keep saying her,
Yes.
so I didn't know we got a name. So like I don't know
Yeah.
if we defined anything else about
Yeah.
her.
Well, yeah. It seems pretty clear that Daniel always just calls her her, but
Yeah.
everybody else knows that she has a name. And just to make Daniel's life just a little bit harder,
Oh boy.
the hideout is just a half a block from Erica's house.
Oh, ooh, rub that salt in the wound.
Okay, let's do some questions. For Lena and Courtney, we know that that mom is sick. What does dad do for a living?
Oh yeah, see, like I totally forgot about that. I was so focused on the things that I had picked that would also apply to Lena that I missed that. So, and on top of that, the fact that you picked mom as the anchor. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That all of that is unrelated to the specific question you just asked. I feel like maybe dad works at the Loop. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
In what kind of capacity is he? A scientist, an administrator, a support staff,
Um.
an engineer?
I think it might be something that we have vaguely understand that it is technology related, but he steadfastly will not say anything about what he does in there. Like he's
Okay.
very disciplined. He will not answer any questions about what he does. Like even
Yeah.
just to family.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so then it's pretty clear that it's not support staff. He's not a janitor. He's
Well-
not he doesn't work in the cafe. Or maybe he does and he does and he's in amongst all these people. So
Or
but-
for that matter, we don't even know necessarily. For all we know, he is a janitor and he doesn't want to say that.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So he okay. Does he also keep it from Lena?
I think, yeah, I think that that was where she got her start with the secrets
Okay.
because Dad won't say, so obviously it's a secret. So
Okay.
yeah, I think she would absolutely love to know what her dad does.
Okay.
But yes, Lena has no idea, and she doesn't even know what his phone number at work is.
Okay. Okay. What is Tona's grandma's status? Is she retired or does she have a job?
She is retired. Yeah, she spends most of her time like doing doing crocheting and
Mhm,
things
mhm.
like that. You know, she might like sell some of the stuff she makes or give away or whatever. But
Okay.
she's always seen
Um,
with a needle in hand.
okay. So does she have like a sewing circle, a knitting circle that she goes to regularly? Or what's her social life like?
Um, I
She's
think
new in town, but
no.
she has to
Well,
have made.
she's not new in town.
She okay, okay.
I'm
Well,
new in
therefore
town with her.
she's definitely got a social circle. Who are her friends?
Yeah. Uh, a sewing circle and bingo where they might they might over or they probably do overlap, but
Okay,
it's not something
Mhm.
Tony pays attention to.
okay, all right. And Daniel, what's Daniel's parent situation?
Um, Dad is a traveling salesman. Mom is a homemaker. Because he gets this feeling that his father does it well enough that mom doesn't have to work,
Okay.
even though now it's in the 80s. But he doesn't see his father too much. I mean, sometimes it's like a month. He'll be a month or more on the road. What he actually sells, he's not quite sure. It's a puzzle.
Okay.
And when he asks mom, say like, "I'll tell you later." So
Okay.
you're wondering if it's something embarrassing or secret. You hope it's a secret, not
Yes.
embarrassing.
Could be
Um,
both.
What?
I said it could be both.
It could be both. Yes.
Um, has Daniel had any experience at all with robots?
If there are any, if there's any robot tech that Mrs. Meineke introduced him to or has been at the school, then yes, absolutely. I mean, there's also like abandoned robot stuff all over. I mean, this as viewers can see the image there, so you might have like dragged something to their hideout once upon a time to try to poke at and see how it works.
Okay, okay. So you found a robot leg once, and it's now kind of in a pile in the of junk in the behind the gas station,
Yeah.
and nobody makes a big deal out of it because it's just junk along with the rest of the junk. But you know that it's a robot's leg. Tony, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Hmm. I don't think he has any clue. Just like, yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, doesn't want to work in the theater at all.
Uh, I mean, he could see being, like when he gets old enough to work, old enough, like, get to older teenager, having that be a part-time job just because, he's seen it. He's seen, old George do it enough that he could probably figure it out. But it's,
Not something he thinks about a lot.
yeah.
Okay. Um, Lena, what do you dream about at night?
Spaceships.
Really? Spaceships. Well, that's
Spaceships.
interesting. Can you tell us about this? You're cooler than I thought.
Okay.
Yeah. Star Trek is her favorite TV show. So
We know that the things make Courtney angry.
Mm-hmm.
What is Courtney's core anger? What gets her really riled up the most?
I think she thinks that when you grow up, your heart dies and you lose the ability to feel things. Not necessarily like in a literal sense that it's inevitable, but that it seems to be all around her that grown-ups just kind of get dead inside, and it she attributes that to all of the world's problems is that people don't take care of each other anymore because they just get old and selfish.
Okay. Okay. All right. Um, when you guys remember, think back to the last time the four of you were together and you all burst out laughing. What caused you all to laugh at the same time?
Bet we were
And-
hanging out at the gas station.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Well, what was the inciting laugh incident?
Somebody ripped an amazing fart.
Yeah, more than
we're
likely.
kids, yeah.
Whose was
And
it?
no, I think it was Tony's, and it was so powerful it threw the pot off of his head.
No, it's one of those that sneaks up on you. So he was startled, and the pot fell off his head.
Yeah.
What do you guys see as what sets the four of you together apart from everyone else?
Well, I think Tony sees like coincidences with like, the loop symbol keeps appearing in places where we go, and and just
What? Sorry, I don't
Or-
mean to cut off your idea.
loop symbol appears in places we go, things we get, just there's something there. Something they're not telling us, but there's something there.
There's a mystery that we're seeing that others apparently aren't seeing, or they're like Courtney thinks they're dead inside because they're adults and don't want to see it, but we can see there's something there. And that sets us apart, maybe.
You mentioned that we all live close together too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What if-
You all live close enough together that you're all at the same bus stop.
Yeah. What if it's the last bus stop on the route?
And when you get on, the whole bus is all crowded.
Yeah. Or actually, I was almost thinking about it like the reverse. Like,
So if it's
we
the
have
first
to be
bus
there
stop-
the earliest. And
Right.
so it's empty when we get on, but also we're the last kids left on the bus.
Yeah, when,
Right,
when we're
when-
going home, yeah. So we're first and last, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
In last out, yeah.
Yeah, and Lena has to get on the earlier bus because once it drops off the older kids, it has to go around again to pick up the kids that are her age to drop them off at the other school.
Yeah, at the elementary school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like there's just like it would take too long for the bus to have to go all the way back to that stop, so it everyone agreed it's just easier for you to just get to school really early.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what it's like being first on the bus stop on the bus.
And where do you sit in the bus? Do the four of you sit up in the front, in the middle, or all the way in the back?
Well, I don't know about everyone else, but Courtney for sure all the way in the back.
Yeah.
yeah,
Especially
And
given that
everybody-
she has her choice in the matter. All the way in the back, for
Hey,
sure.
and since you're the equally aged of the four of us, yeah, I kind of might have sat in the front, like teacher's pet sort of thing. But then once you start sitting in the back, it's like there's no point in me sitting in the front away from the rest of you, especially if we're an empty bus and the three in the back of me in the front makes no sense. So you kind of drag me by force of gravity back with you.
Well,
Okay.
so Lena, do you sit in the back with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I imagine it's just another thing to be angry about, that I'm trying to be like the rebellious kid who sits all the way in the back, and my little sister just has to come sit with me.
Adding acid to that vinegar.
Well, and so it's like oh, go ahead.
I'd like to add a little sugar to that vinegar as well.
Mhm.
The first time early in the year that you told Lena she couldn't sit with you, she sat up toward the front, basically as far away as you as close as you would let her.
Hmm.
and the kid sitting next to her sat down and just squished her against the wall and just wouldn't move and pretended to need that much of the seat and just made the entire trip miserable. And I think Courtney
Yeah.
softened a little.
Yeah, I never made her sit somewhere else again after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I probably ever said anything about it. I just
Yeah. Just never.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
just silently feeling guilty
kind of
about
like,
that.
just kind of the next day got on after me and just kept pushing all the way to the back. It said, "Sit inside. You don't know me."
I have this image of Courtney and Lena, like this, the back of the bus is like one big whole bench.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, because
Courtney
the,
is
the
on
door,
one corner.
the exit,
Yeah,
well,
the
it's
door.
exit and the
You got, well, you get
Yeah.
the extra store, right? Okay, but in any case, Courtney and Lena are on opposite sides of that. With Daniel next to Courtney and Tony next to Lena, and the whole back bus
Is occupied.
like that.
That's yep. That's our territory.
Yeah.
the
and-
bus driver rolls his eyes at us every day.
All right.
Hi.
One more. I know some of the answers to these already.
the bus driver rolls his eyes extra hard when Tony stumbles and his pot falls off his head and goes clunk, 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 clunk.
What are you not talking about?
What do we know?
Like
As a group?
as a group, or
As a group, what are you not talking about? I imagine one thing that you might not talk about, or maybe you do, is Lena and Courtney's parents.
Yeah.
Possibly
I was
breaking
thinking
up?
That I was thinking that's
I wonder because on the one hand, I was imagining that the divorce is something that just fits right into everything Courtney's mad about. And so she maybe rants about it to Daniel, but won't talk about it in front of Lena. But
Okay.
the other thing that I was going to say, though, is that Lena's thing was that mom doesn't want to admit she's sick. I feel like that's the thing that Courtney specifically would have a real hard time knowing what to do with that.
Yeah, I figured that of the two of them, the divorce would be more normal.
Yeah.
And so the illness would be more of the scary kind of boogeyman.
Right. But I mean, is that something that
That's
we're
kind of
all
personal.
not talking about? It's really kind of us specifically.
Yeah.
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 Do you not talk about the way Daniel looks at Erica?
ooh, more salt for the wound.
Oh, so
Yeah.
like I thought you were urging us like something bigger, like town events, as opposed to.
That's possible too. I mean, we
Okay.
can introduce new big things if you want.
Yeah,
Um,
I was thinking along those lines, but the personal and relationship also works.
What had come to mind to me is that there have been a lot of kids suddenly transferring out of our school this year. Like that we show up and we just hear that they transferred out and we didn't know why and I'm not saying they're missing. I'm saying that we don't know why they
Right.
transferred out.
I'm not going to say there's a lot of them,
Okay.
but like 6 of them happened all at once.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it seems like it seems impossible that it couldn't be connected. But what would
Yeah.
it be?
6 kids from 5 different families, all suddenly not there, and your school isn't so big that you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not faceless.
And maybe what it was too is that the adults we asked about it were kind of unexpectedly like really didn't want to talk about it. Like they transferred out, just deal with it. Like, just they didn't want to discuss it.
Right.
And it was like just enough that it felt like we have been encouraged not to talk about this strange thing that's happening. Seems uncomfortable, but we don't have anything else to go on either, so.
Right. Okay. That'll be the questions for this time. Let's introduce some scenes. Daniel,
Yes.
your mom is getting a ride from Tony's grandma to Pearson's Salvage
That's odd. Why is mom going to salvage?
because her
Just talk down
car
behind
got
us?
because her car got towed.
Uh,
And because grandma doesn't have anyone else to keep an eye on Tony, he's coming along. And Daniel, you're in the car too.
is this the place where Uncle Midas works?
Yes, it is.
Okay. That's not so bad.
So what kind of car does grandma drive?
Oh,
How
something-
about a big old Oldsmobile?
yes.
So it's got a big Oldsmobile 88. There's a huge amount of room in the back seat.
Yeah.
You could have a wrestling match back there.
But
Is it the kind that had the backward facing seat?
No, it's not that old.
Oh, I loved that car.
even though, or maybe because she doesn't actually drive that often or that far, it is in immaculate condition.
In spite of being like 12 years old.
Yeah.
So you pull up in front of Pearson Salvage, and Tony's grandma pulls out some knitting and says, "I'll just wait here in case anything goes wrong and you need a ride." And Daniel's mom says, "Oh, thank you so much. This is a you're saving my life here." And she heads to the office to get her car back. What did Daniel and Tony do? Paul, I can't hear you.
I'm muted. That's why you can't hear me. Well, come on, Tony. Let's go poke around a bit. See if anything interesting's showing up while mom deals with the car.
Okay.
So Pearson Salvage is nestled between huge, rusting, unidentifiable hulks. There's an office that you see there in the illustration that I've posted for you. And behind it, and you that's where you walk in first to that section on the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
And behind it, you can see this window faces out onto a little impound yard. And there's just room for 8 or 10 cars there. And there's a spot for the tow truck to come in and out. But over in the back, beyond the impound yard, there's a kind of a low wall, but there's an opening there that's open to it. And you can hear the sound of grinding, metal grinding. And there's and hanging over the zone beyond the impound yard, there's a huge apparatus, a spherical thing hanging on cables with some other machinery bits hanging on below that.
Oh my! Look at that.
Right now, um, uh, uh, Daniel's mom is talking to Mr. Pearson, the guy who runs the place, and
Yep.
they're not paying a whole lot of attention to you.
Of course they're not. This is the perfect opportunity to take a look, get a closer look at an apparatus, right, Tony?
Sure.
So you run
That
around
is-
to the back. You just kind of, because this is just cars out here.
Yeah, that's he's not into cars yet, so this is boring.
Right.
The weird tech in the back, that's where the fun is.
There is all kinds of stuff, clearly loop stuff, because it's got that roundish look to it that loop stuff always seems to have. And you can see now as you get closer that the apparatus that's hanging from these wires, there's four pylons at the corners of the scrapyard in the back, and hanging from those those wires is this big spherical housing, and below that is a gigantic arm. It's a claw gripper about 5 foot across, with an elbow and a wrist and a shoulder that's almost but not quite human arranged. But it's this huge claw, and then way over in the far side of that is a little shed, and you see your Uncle Midas. He's got a pair of headphones on, connected to a Walkman on his belt, and he's got some piece of equipment on a bench there, and there's an angle grinder sitting on the bench next to it. But right now he's playing air guitar.
So Daniel's going to make a circuit around below the apparatus in the arm, is like studying it, looking at it. If he was into
Okay.
photography, which he's not, he would probably be to have a camera out and taking pictures of it. But he's kind of taking pictures with his mind, is like trying to
Okay.
absorb every detail of this thing.
Okay. What kind of skill check would you like for this?
Let's take a look.
Comprehend.
Comprehend. Yeah, comprehend's a good.
Okay. Roll a number of dice for I think it's mind plus comprehend.
Okay, so I have 4 in mind and 2 in comprehend, so that's 6 dice. All right, so I was looking for 6s, correct?
Yes. Did you
I
get
have
any
no
sixes?
six- I have
You have no sixes.
No 6s.
Yeah, this apparatus doesn't have much in the way of, like, you can't see any way to control it. You think maybe it might be radio controlled, but it's still something of a mystery to you.
And that frustrates me. It's like I should know what this is. It's
Oh,
almost stamping up and down in his frustration.
What's Tony up to?
Tony is going to sneak up to Daniel's Uncle Midas and see what he's working on.
Okay, make a sneak check.
Okay, so that's 2 for body and 3 for sneak.
And I'm going to give you an extra 2 dice because he's got his headphones on.
Okay. Um, 2 6s.
Okay. You've gotten right up behind him. He just has not noticed you. And what he's got is there's a piece of just like some kind of support structure thing. It looks like a strangely shaped, curved structural strut that he is like sawing up. But over on the side, you can see 4 dumpster-sized bins. These are 6 feet wide, 4 feet thick, 5 feet high bins, labeled structural, electronics, cabling, and hazardous. And there's a grease-stained hazmat suit hanging on the wall, hanging on a hook on the wall, has a huge rip in it. And other tools that you see on his bench that are kind of waiting to be used is a pair of hydraulic bolt cutters, and another thing with the Dart logo of the loop. And you'll need to make a comprehend check to figure out what that is.
Okay. That comprehend is mine, so that's 3. None. Nothing.
Okay, so yeah, you don't know what that does.
So if I wanted to grab it, what would that be?
You want to grab it without Midas noticing?
Yes. Because that looks like something that Daniel would want.
It is not small. It is
Oh,
a big bulky device.
okay, never mind then. But I was
yeah.
thinking, I was thinking Walkman size, basically.
I appreciate the
It's
sentiment,
bigger
though.
than that. It's bigger than that. But you might ask Midas what it is.
Hmm.
Or you might go back and tell Daniel and ask him what he thinks it is.
Yeah, I think I'll go back to Daniel.
Okay.
Hey, Daniel, that thing over there,
What thing
it's
where?
got over there by your uncle it's got the loop logo on it. What? Do you know what that is?
He looks up one more time at the spear in the arm, crunches his teeth like, let's go take a look. And he'll follow Tony
Okay.
over to
You can make a comprehend check to figure out what the thing is.
comprehend. Let's see if I can do better than the
Oh, actually,
last
make a
time.
sneak check as well to sneak up on Midas if you don't want to be
Oh,
noticed.
sneak. Oh, that's
First of all, are you sneaking up on him?
yeah, I don't want to bother him.
Okay, well, he doesn't seem to be doing anything interesting right now, anything important right now. He's playing air guitar. But
So- Let's see. So my body. Okay, so be body plus sneak. Not very good at this. I got no successes.
okay. He turns around and pulls off his headphones and says, "Oh, hey, Danny!
Hi, Uncle Midas.
You hate being called Danny.
I know. Hi, Uncle Midas. Teeth crunch.
Hey, what brings you out here? This isn't a place for kids."
Mom had to have her car towed.
Mom
Mom's
got her-
trying to get it. Mom got her car towed.
Oh, yeah, Piers is an ass. So this is where I work. Pretty cool, huh?
Pretty cool. I mean, what was that thing out there that's hanging?
Oh man, that's the robot, man.
the robot.
So, like every so often, a truck comes from Dart, and they got shit that I want me to take apart. And so the truck rolls in here, right? That's that big like open area you see at the far end, man. It goes in there, and then the robot just grabs things off the back of the truck and moves them onto the yard here. And then when it's time to take them apart, the robot can move a piece from that over into my laboratory over here. And then I start taking it apart and I sort the pieces out. And yeah, that's how my job works. So
What?
yeah, the robot has does the heavy lifting now, so I don't have to throw my back out on him.
And what's that thing? And point to the tool, the special tool.
Oh man,
Yeah.
this is one of the coolest parts. And he pulls out this big, thick black cable, and you can see that it runs across the ground and then up into the tower part of the main root building, way over across the other side of the yard. And he hooks it up into the device, and then just aims it down at the thing on his bench, and this beam of light comes out and starts melting a piece of the structure. Says, "This is my laser cutter, man. It is
A
awesome,
laser
huh?
cutter.
Oh my, this is the most metal thing in the world." And I'm just a goofball like me use it. It's such crazy.
Wow. A
Like,
laser cutter.
but I can't use it too much. He turns it off because Pearson's always on me about the power bill, so I got to use these dumbass angle grinders and bolt cutters and things. But if I can't cut it that way, I use the laser cutter. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'll turn to Tony and say, excited, a laser cutter. You know what a laser is, right?
It's
It's
bright.
basically concentrated light, so much that it burns things.
Yeah, I'm supposed to wear goggles when I use it, but you know what the fuck.
Yeah. Did you tear your suit?
Oh yeah, I got slipped with the bolt with the angle grinder once. It's bullshit anyways. Nothing comes in here that really means anything. Well, mostly doesn't anyways. Yeah, they usually send stuff down here when it stopped working. They just want me to take it apart and then they take the parts back into the loop and do whatever the shit they do when they're not there. So listen, I gotta kind of stop making noise here with this, or else Pearson will get on my ass. So stand back because sparks are gonna fly and shit, and I gotta get back to work here because otherwise Pearson's gonna get on my ass.
Okay, Uncle Midas.
All right, you kids, have a good afternoon. All right, you're pretty cool. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. And pulls out the angle grinder and starts sawing away at this strut again.
So cool. Right, Tony?
That was really bright. Almost had to pull my pot down.
off. Yeah. Lasers. I think they work on lasers in the loop. And here's
wonder-
Uncle Midas just using one. Isn't that amazing?
I wonder if it can do anything else but cut.
I've only seen stuff like in science fiction books, but maybe. I mean, there was that movie that they were shooting lasers with guns, and lasers pushing rockets. I mean, what's her name? Courtney's sister, what's her name? Lena, like showing me this image of this rocket being pushed by a laser, which doesn't make any sense, but enough stuff it apparently can push.
Who knows? I mean, on Star Trek, they have laser guns. No, that's not the term.
Phaser. That's the
Phasers,
thing.
yes.
Phasers, yeah.
Hey.
And here we have a real one.
Is that what a real phaser would be?
I mean, it's bigger, but Star Trek's set in the future, so maybe they made it smaller in the future.
You gonna do anything else while the negotiations going on?
No, we're gonna wander around. We're gonna talk and
Okay.
then geek out about lasers and technology.
Okay. All right. So after a little while, Daniel's mom calls out and says, Daniel, time to go. I got the car back.
Sigh. Daniel's like, Daniel does not want to go. He's having too much fun. Come on, we have to be able to go.
Grandma will worry if we don't.
So you head
we'll
back
make
and
our
get
way
into
back,
your
but it's not
individual
exactly a
cars.
sprint back to the car.
Okay. You get back, get into your individual cars, head on home.
One quick note. I want to go back to where you said that him listening to music and playing air guitar wasn't especially important or interesting. Excuse me. Music is the most important.
Um,
Music is life. To Courtney.
let's take a look at Lena and Courtney. Your parents are out at an appointment. They have not been talking about exactly what it is, but they're going to a meeting that the kids are not going to. Lydia is supposed to be watching you, but she has taken the phone into her room and closed the door.
Mhm.
What are you two doing while Lydia pretends she's an only child?
I am, I've got my boombox playing AC/DC kind of obnoxiously loud, and I keep, just so happens I keep walking back and forth in front of Lydia's door. I'm trying to play it cool though, like I'm not doing it on purpose.
What does Lena think of this?
She's just rolling her eyes. It's like, you need to put the big speakers in front of her door.
Turn it so it faces her door.
No, it's like, no, you need to plug it into the big stereo. I've got a cord. We can run the wire right in front of her door and just crank it up to 11.
What are you talking about? She's just on the phone. I'm
Do you or do you not want to knock her over on her ass?
You don't understand.
Outside, a truck rolls by with some equipment on it that's not immediately identifiable.
Whoa.
The next day, Saturday, Lena and Courtney's mom, who's having a good day today, decides she's going to go out yard sailing, and she's bringing you along.
Okay.
Now,
Is this we are invited to come along, or is you're coming with me?
you're coming with me.
Okay.
She kind of, I mean, the implication is that if she finds something too big to carry, that you're there to help her move it.
Yeah,
But
or maybe
That's
like
all unspoken.
if we're buying, hand cast off clothing, we need to make sure it'll fit you. That's
Mhm.
right. Okay.
You go to a few boring places. The kind of yard sales that they've got, like clothes the kids have grown out of, some half worn out furniture, maybe some toys for really small kids. Nothing really interesting. But then you wind up in the front yard of this house, and there's all kinds of really interesting things here. Now, the dude who is selling the stuff looks kind of, well, to Lena, he looks kind of greasy and distrustful, but Courtney immediately notices that he's wearing a concert t-shirt for a heavy metal band.
Righteous.
And it's kind of ripped and old, but nevertheless, he has been to a concert.
Wow.
And Lena and Courtney's mom starts looking through the stuff and finds a little TV set. It's, a portable, jobby, about 15 inches screen. And she starts talking to him about the price. But there's all kinds of interesting things here. There's an Atari set. There's a box full of albums, vinyl, unfortunately, but you can always make tapes off of the vinyl. And a stack, some clothes there, but there's a stack of concert tees. and over on one side there's an unlabeled box. Are you poking? Are you looking around? What are you looking at?
Well, I think if I noticed the unlabeled box, I would look in it. But otherwise, I'm going to be definitely interested in the albums in the probably albums first, and then teas.
Okay.
And unlabeled box definitely for Lena.
Okay. Well, first Courtney's looking at the albums, and there's Anthrax and Dokken and Rat and Queensryche and a whole bunch of albums by a band called Anvil. And when you kind of pull one out and look at it, the guy just kind of notices that you're looking and says, "Oh man, those guys are going to be really hot. You just watch. They're amazing." And he immediately starts to do air guitar, and then remembers that he's talking to your mom, and it's like, "Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, got a little distracted." Yeah, those are great, and each album in there is a quarter. I'll give you the whole box for $5.
Do we have any money?
You are at an age where you get Christmas money and birthday money sometimes, but you tend to spend it by the time the month is over, and or else mom and dad tell you to put it in the savings account for college. So you don't have any cash with you right now.
Okay.
But if you want something, your parents have been known to buy you something if you ask. So
Yeah, I begin negotiations with my mom.
okay, all right, make a charm roll.
Well, when I am of a mind to do it, I have 5 heart and 3 charm. So
Okay, so you've been known to get what you want from mom. That has been known to happen.
I think it's one of those things where I have discovered the dubious skill of I'm kind of hostile and withdrawn a lot of the time, but occasionally I'm nice, and when I'm nice, it's like it's the discrepancy between the two that like
Yeah.
it works. She's so relieved that I'm not being sarcastic at her.
Yes. Right. So roll the
All right,
dice.
let's see. Wow. So out of 8, that's only 1 6, but it is 1.
That is a success.
All right.
So she breaks off negotiations over the TV set and goes and looks at the box and starts to say, I don't know if this is really appropriate for someone. Actually, no. Here, go ahead and put that in the car, and I'll add that to what I buy from this fellow. So
Thank you, Mom.
This is so creepy.
So while that is going on, Lena looks in the box that's unlabeled and finds a stack of magazines. Only you have never seen women who look like this on the cover of a magazine before. With wearing not very many clothes, and you've actually heard the word Playboy before, but it's been like, well, you tell me what Lena knows about this kind of thing.
I think the most Lena would have heard about it is like, passing through a room when the TV's on and there's like a mention of it on a TV show or something. And,
Okay.
But it's just, peripheral.
Right. And
It
she kind of understands that it's grown up stuff,
yeah.
but doesn't, but this is mostly unknown territory for her. So right now, Courtney is trying to get her mom to buy her these heavy metal albums. Nobody's paying any attention to you. What does Lena do?
Um,
She likes uncovering secrets.
she does like uncovering secrets. I think she kind of nudged the box a little bit more out of the way so that it's a little bit more invisible and just like poke through and start looking through some of the magazines.
Oh,
Okay, make a stealth check.
All right.
Want to do this
So
surreptitiously?
yeah, do this surreptitiously. This is body is 5, sneak is 1. So I got a 6.
Okay. Yeah, they are not they're not paying attention, and you are able to kind of put your back to them and pull one out and look through, and there's all the kinds of things that you find in a Playboy magazine in 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Which is lots and lots of girls and not very many clothes.
that's right, and you know, pictorials and articles and things about technology and things about politics and stuff like that. But the things that I imagine that the girls would be what Lena notices most.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think she would probably just look through the box to see if there's anything else besides this.
No, that's all that's there.
What's all this there?
Do we want to draw a veil
I'm
on
trying
11-year-old looking at Playboy?
If you're uncomfortable with this, we can definitely draw a veil on that.
Yeah,
but I think
no,
if
I
Lena
think-
just puts it back and leaves
and walks
that's-
away. Yeah.
Yeah, then that's
Yeah.
that. Then yeah.
Yeah, she just puts it back and walks away.
Okay.
It's boring grown up stuff. Why?
Yeah. Gross.
So you end up helping your mom carry the TV into the car. Does Courtney leave it to Lena to do, or does she pick up the TV herself?
Oh, I think that
It's not tremendously heavy. It's
I
it
got
is,
the albums, which is a big coup. So I'm definitely in good kid mode. So I will.
okay.
Yeah. I'll help.
There's
with the TV.
There's several other things that she's picked up in the yard sale. There's a folding table and several other items. What would be the appropriate skill to kind of put clues together?
Investigate.
Well,
Yeah, it's understanding clues. So roll an investigate check. Each of you roll an investigate check.
okay. I have nothing in investigate, but I have 4 in mind. So. Oh, I got a 6.
Okay.
Let's see how Lena does. Lena also got a 6. I've only got 2.
Okay. Well, it's pretty clear from looking at the things that your mom has picked up that these aren't things you need at home. These would be things you need if you're starting a new household.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Like?
some dishes and silverware and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Folding table probably came with some crappy folding chairs
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with the vinyl that's broken. the vinyl cushion seat
Splits,
that's got
yeah.
a groove in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think Courtney does the 13-year-old emotional turn on a dime, is suddenly sullen and quiet again.
Mm-hmm. How about Lena? You've
Me?
seen that the penny has dropped for you, and
Yeah.
you've seen that the penny has dropped for Courtney.
Just I think she would wait until they were in the car and going home,
Right. Okay.
and then
You're-
she'd say that because her mom is her anchor,
Yeah.
so she'd probably say, "So what What's all this?
Oh, just a few things I'll be needing. Don't worry about it.
Courtney studiously flipping through the albums very carefully, not noticing anything else at all. Cannot hear anything else happening in the car right now.
You get home, you help your mom. She tells you to put the stuff in a corner in the garage. And she's starting to feel tired, so she's going to go to bed. And when she goes inside, Lydia says, "Mom, I made dinner last night." So you two are alone together in the garage as you're unloading the car.
Question: did Lydia make dinner last night?
She did.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to think that Lena makes a really, really good like Kraft macaroni and cheese with hot dogs.
All right. Yeah.
This is tapping into my childhood.
I think. Yeah. I think. Yeah. As soon as we're kind of alone in the garage, Courtney is being very sulky again. Just kind of not really unpacking the car. Just kind of looking at the albums some more, but kind of as a distraction for sure.
Okay. And I think Lena probably is unpacking the car, and that corner might of the garage might have some other stuff from previous weekends,
Okay.
trips or
This
something
is
like that.
if it did, it was cleared out and the space made for this sometime recently.
Okay.
It's now kind of understood to be Mom's corner.
Okay.
You know what's happening here, right?
Yeah, I'm not dumb. I just don't understand why.
Wow.
Whose fault is it?
It's everyone's fault.
Can't
Dad
be
won't talk
everyone's
about
fault.
work. Mom won't talk about anything. Nobody wants to talk about anything. Nobody shares their feelings, and everyone's just like retreating into just being curled up little rocks.
You're getting a lot of practice at that.
Ooh,
There's a mark.
that feels like a needle that would hurt.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I think there's a moment of just quiet, and then I think Courtney just goes to take the albums and just like go inside and not respond to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The last item left to take out of the car is the TV set. It's a little heavy for an 11-year-old. Make a force check.
Okay.
And it's not tremendously heavy, so I'll give you an extra die, but
It's awkward.
it's awkward. And you have to kind of lift it out of the trunk because this is back when trunks didn't have that open area in the back.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh,
Not
no.
1-6.
Okay. You try to pull it out and it tumbles down, bounces off the bumper and smacks into the ground.
Ugh.
It doesn't like smash into a million pieces, but you heard something crack.
I think I hadn't made it all the way inside yet, and so I
Okay.
kind of just sigh and just belabored like, ugh, I have to do everything. I'll come back and it's like, Lena, I what look, you broke it. And I guess I'm checking to see if she broke it.
Hard to tell. You kind of need to plug it in and turn it on to see if it works.
Yeah. The
There is an outlet in here.
Is it just
Yeah.
look like a regular TV? I mean, or is
Yeah,
it
yeah, it
weird
looks like a
looking
regular old TV. It's not some special weirdo
okay.
loop tech.
yeah.
Hmm.
The
This-
I think go set up well, we can use the folding table and set it up by the outlet and see if it'll turn on.
Yeah.
Maybe I can fix it.
It turns on, but the screen's all jagged lines.
Hmm.
The main tube isn't broken. It's the signal that's coming through is all jagged lines.
Well, so
And,
like, would our main TV have like rabbit ears or what? Or-
Yeah, you have an antenna well, is your family well enough off that you've got a big old antenna on the roof with a motor to pick up the signals, or you just have a pair of rabbit ears?
I think we got a pair of rabbit ears.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of my thinking too. You know,
Okay.
this is a 3-kid family. You know,
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this TV has a pair of rabbit ears attached to it, and you kind of extend those. But and you know that channel 6 comes in great on the family TV. So you tune it to 6, and it's getting a signal, but it doesn't look right. It's all, all mixed up.
okay. Well,
And you remember your mom checking it before she bought it, and it worked when it was at the yard sale.
okay, Lena. Here's what you got to do. We're it got bounced around in the car trunk or something, on the drive. You didn't drop it.
I still think I could fix it. Maybe we just need to extend the antenna because there's a lot of metal in here. Maybe we can like do the tinfoil or something and extend the antenna or something.
Okay.
Maybe we can fix it.
Make a tinker check. Oh, it's electronics, so use program. Yeah, program is the
Oh,
right term.
program? No, okay.
Yeah, because it's
So
electronics.
1, 2, 3, 4. So if I use the first 4 die that I rolled for that, I still got a 6.
Okay. All right. You fiddle with the antennas for a while, can move it around to try to find a good spot. Nothing works. You fiddle with the knobs in the back, and you realize that one of them has kind of come loose, and that what you need is, if you think it could be fixed with some electronics tools, and you're pretty sure that Daniel has some.
Okay. Or can get his hands on some.
Or
Okay.
can get his hands on some.
Yeah. I think we can fix this. Daniel might have the tool. Daniel probably has the tools that we need to fix this.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Well, I peer seriously at the stuff that she had examined, and it's like I'm thinking, what is she? How does she? Okay.
I have broken a lot of stuff. Just saying. If you didn't notice that I broke it, it's because I fixed it.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, if let's fix it. I mean, we don't need mom mad at us right now.
Right. So you call Daniel and see if he can come over.
I will. So would it be Like, how close is Daniel's house? Like, would it make more sense to
It's-
just run over there, or to call him on the phone?
It is within a block.
Okay.
You could run over to his house,
Yeah.
or you
Well,
could call
so
him. You know
hey,
his phone
Daniel,
number.
here's the question, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Are we on knock on the front door, or are we on call on the phone level?
I imagine that you shouting up at the second story window sometimes is sometimes what you've done to try to get my attention if I'm not paying
Throwing rocks
attention.
at the window.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
wake
Yeah.
up, Daniel.
Yeah, throw the little pebbles at the window because I've seen people do that in movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh? What? I'm Daniel's reading and hears the rocks, like goes to the window, opens it up. This is such an 80s movie. It's scary. Looks out. Yes.
Hey, Daniel, we need your help fixing a TV.
Fixing a TV. Okay. Blink, blink. What kind of TV?
The regular kind.
The regular kind. Okay. Can you tell me more? Because I got a lot of stuff I could.
I
bring.
don't know.
What's
You're the one that knows what tools are. That's
Okay, I'll be
why
right. Okay, I'll be right down. Okay. So, TV. I'm looking at the.
If I know what tools we needed, then I would just get them.
So
Such a pain sometimes. Okay.
you shove some screwdrivers and
Some wire and this.
and stuff like that into your backpack. I looked it up, and kids are using backpacks back then. And you hustle back to Lena and Courtney's house.
Yep.
And there's the TV on the card table in the garage, and jagged lines on the front. So if you want to try and fix it,
I do.
you want to make a program check.
Okay. Program check. Let's see. I have 1 in program and 5 in tech, so that's 6 dice. So let's see
Okay.
what we can do with 6 dice.
And since Lena already kind of understands what's wrong, I'll let her help you and give you an extra die.
Okay.
I was about to ask if I could assist.
Yes.
I'll just make sure
Supervise.
Mom doesn't come back out before it's fixed.
2 sixes.
What I do is I go and I sit on. I imagine there's a couple of stairs up to the door
Yep.
into the house.
The door to the house.
And I sit against it, looking at the albums.
Okay.
Like, so the door would like bump against me if she,
Right.
actually it would probably open in.
It would open inwards, but that might not have.
Good. Good.
You'd still be the first thing anybody saw.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got 2 sixes.
Excellent. Okay. In addition, that extra 6 allows you, if you want, to have you can buy an effect. You can buy beneficial things. Let me see. Where's that table? This is the first time. Everything's like. This is the first time running the game, so I'm not sure. All right.
If you roll more successes than you need leftover successes, are used to buy beneficial bonus effects.
Right.
These effects are described for each skill.
Okay. So let's look at the program skill, and see what kind of things you can buy with that. Okay. You can you can actually improve its function. You can make it, the only thing I can think of that's appropriate here is that it just snaps into focus, and the picture is crystal clear. It's even better than, I mean, it's small, but it's even better than
small.
than what
It's outer limits crystal clarity sort of perfection.
Yeah.
I feel really good after getting this, like, and plugging the things, like, there you are.
Lena will offer you a high five.
Wow, that's a good TV.
So what's with the portable TV? Don't you guys have a TV? Why is it in the garage?
Yeah. My mom's gonna move out.
Oh, oh, oh. I stepped in it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
sorry.
think there's just
He's just like hanging his head, like, oh God, did I step into it this time? Oh,
Do we want to close that scene out?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That night at dinner, Daniel is with his parents,
hmm
and
Oh, so Dad's home.
yeah, Dad has just come home.
Okay, okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. And they talk about the car being towed, and he's not happy with that, but he kind of understands that it happens. And
We might have two cars, because if he's
yeah,
on
he's got the
road a
one that
lot-
he uses when he's
yeah,
the
so,
one
so,
that
so
mom
the company
has.
car.
So
Yeah, so
he has got the company car. You've got mom has the family car, and that's the one that got
Yeah.
towed. And you hear them talking about a yard sale that Midas held, where he's selling off all of his stuff. And Midas is your mom's brother,
okay.
and she's worried. She's, I think he's in some kind of trouble.
Why would he sell all of his stuff? I mean, we just saw him. I just saw him today at the junkyard. He seemed fine. He was showing me his angle grinder and this other stuff and the robot. When is the yard sale?
Well, it was today.
Oh, it was today? Wait, we were just. Oh, We were just-
That's what
we-
you saw him
yeah,
on Friday.
we were just at the thing. Just what?
It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why he's selling everything off. You saw him yesterday.
Yeah.
Was there anything? And so she turns to Daniel and says, you saw him at work. You saw him at
Yeah.
the wrecking yard.
He was
There was
having
the-
a great time. He was showing me about the robot and the angle grinder. He's not going to mention the laser because that might freak out Mom. It's like he was just like Midas. I mean, he was complaining.
Why was he selling everything?
I-
And your father says, honey, your brother is a bum. He's never going to make anything out of himself. He's probably gotten in some trouble over, I don't know, drugs or something, and needed some money fast. That's all. He's not worth worrying about. And she says, he's my brother. Of course I'm going to worry about him. I mean, okay, he's into weird music and he's not really making much of himself, but he's still my brother and I care about him. And your father is just like, I'm done worrying about him. He's
Uncle Midas. I say in a small, timid voice, but he's Uncle Midas.
and then your mother realizes that this has gotten you worried, and she kind of clams up about it. She doesn't bring it. She changes the subject, and asks your father to look at the car and make sure the tow truck didn't do any damage to it. He says he'll look, and then asks you what your little friend Peter is doing lately, because you keep talking about all the wonderful things that he's done, and your father changes the subject.
And so I unfortunately start talking about Peter building yet another computer, and he's talking about going to school in New York and all this other
Wow.
stuff. It's like, yeah, it's like some technical high school in New York.
Okay, so you let the
Yeah, I'm gonna let it go because
Okay.
I'm really twisted inside at the moment. I'm thinking, oh, so how far away does Uncle Midas live from my
it's
house?
about a mile. You could bike there.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know because as he's talking about Peter in the forebrain, in the back brain, he's thinking, oh, maybe I need to go to see Uncle Midas myself. So he's got the two tracks running in his brain at the same time.
So that's kind of dinner on Saturday.
And it's summer, so it's probably still light
Yeah.
after dinner.
Still light out. These are the scenes that I kind of arranged for you guys. What would you like to do next?
Well, I think after the awkwardness of that conversation, the previous conversation, Courtney definitely, like, she's never heard of this Anvil band before. So she's definitely going to try to check some of those out. I think that, she's got the cassette stereo, and I think the family has the record player.
Right.
And
yes.
it's
yes.
set up so that she can dub from it, but that player's in the living room. So
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So you got a couple of cables that you hook up to the output ports on the family stereo so that you can dub it onto your boombox.
yeah,
Um,
probably still plays in the room though. I would think.
oh yeah. Absolutely.
I have to know what it's
at least
doing.
if you wanted to, you could figure out how to make it so that it just dubs off. But do you care about that?
Well, I want to be able to hear it while I'm listening to it while
right.
I'm dubbing it. It's not
Okay.
unless someone tells me to stop. So I think I do know how to do it silently. But if it's an album I haven't heard yet, I don't want to waste a lot of time dubbing the whole album if the music is bad.
Well, your mom's in bed. Your older sister is making dinner, and grumbling about it. And she's got her the family phone on her ear as she's doing that, talking to her friends. And your father is in his office. No, you know what? He's in the basement. He's in the basement. He's got the door closed. And it is generally understood that you do not bother him when he has the door closed in the basement. So it's you and possibly Lena if anybody wants to interfere. Lydia makes a disparaging comment about the music when you start playing it, but doesn't otherwise interfere.
Okay. So what's the music like? This Anvil band?
Anvil is actually a real band.
Okay.
You can go and listen to it. It is heavy metal.
Okay.
Generally considered to be either the most underrated heavy metal band of all time, or the most overrated band because people just think they're mediocre.
Okay. So I guess what I was maybe getting at is like, as opposed to we don't have to dig too deep into it if it's just a band for flavor and not something happening.
Yeah, it's not there's nothing about the lyrics that strikes you as unusual.
Okay.
It's something of the inclusion of the band name in this list was something of an Easter egg.
So I think though that I am thinking back about it though, just from this garage sale and the fact that like this guy seems to really love this stuff, but why it's occurring to me like, why is he selling all of these? I didn't get into it at the time because I was trying to talk my mom into buying them for me, but why would he sell all these things?
Yeah, they're in fine shape. They've been played, but they're not like scratched up or anything. Looks like he's actually taken pretty good care of them.
Can I intuit anything about him from his taste in music?
Yeah, I think that's worthy of a roll. I think it's going to be a heart roll.
Empathize?
Yeah.
Well, empathize is not heart, though.
Empathize is mind. Nope. Yeah, I think empathize is perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
let's
Roll
see.
empathize.
4 and 3. That's 1-6.
Okay. The band that he liked most in that stack was Anvil,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like the most superficial band of the bunch.
Hmm.
I mean, most of their songs aren't about something, they're just about like heavy metal.
Mm-hmm. So,
And
yeah.
they seem to be a band that's more interested in being a band than having anything to say.
Hmm.
And so it's you kind of get the feeling that the dude is not tremendously deep.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay. Well, so I I guess that's what I was doing. I don't know that there's um so I don't know that that's Daniel's Uncle Midas, or do I?
Not at this point, no.
Okay.
Um,
Kind of.
Yeah, we haven't connected those strings
Yeah.
streams
We
yet.
also haven't
Yeah.
heard from Tony in a while. What's Tony up to?
Yeah, what's Tony
Yeah.
doing?
So I have not got an immediate scene for Tony. Let me look through his stuff here.
While you're doing that, kind of makes me wonder, would Daniel have recognized the TV from his uncle's place?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Oh, yeah. Make a
Investigate, maybe?
yeah, make an investigate check.
Okay. Let's give it a shot. See if I.
Yeah, that's a good
And when you
thought.
like put it together at the dinner table.
Almost fell. Try it again. 3 6s.
Okay.
Kid you not?
Wow.
Wow. After my
So-
early bad rolls, now I'm rolling like hot.
So yeah, you while you're at the dinner table, it's like, wait a minute, that was Uncle Midas's TV that you worked on. You just thought it was the same model. Now you know. And it does seem a little weird.
So it's still light. After
It is
dinner,
still light.
It after dinner, then well, first of all, I'm going to go over to now. I'm going to repay the favor and go over to Lena and Courtney's house and try to get a hold of them because they know more than I do, and I need information.
Okay.
You approach the house and hear heavy metal coming from the living room windows.
Blink, blink, but this is not entirely unexpected. But it's not. I've heard before, but okay, yep. Park the bike and go up and rap.
Okay.
Courtney.
I think Courtney is
Yeah.
in her heavy metal headbanging phase, and so Lena's the one who has to let him in.
So I don't stop the music, but I think it's less about the headbanging and more about sitting there pondering of like, wait, this was that guy's favorite band? Like, he's got so much better albums in here.
I'd like to get Tony involved. Here.
Well, I mean, maybe Tony just comes over to play with Lena or something.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
I think maybe.
No.
Well, I have an idea.
Okay, go ahead.
Tony's house. That Tony's house is between them, so
Okay.
so he sees them going. He's seen them going back and forth, and just goes over to investigate. It's like
Yep.
kind of
Yep. He sees Daniel driving his bike over to there and just sees him out the front window. Happens to have seen him.
Yeah, so he goes. So he joins Daniel by the door and says, "What's going on?"
I gotta talk to them. They had me fix this TV, and it turns out it was Uncle Midas' TV. Remember Uncle Midas that we talked to yesterday, and
Did
Mom
he
and
get
Dad
a
were
new
talking
TV?
about what?
Did he get a new TV?
No, I gotta talk to Courtney. Lena, open the door. knock.
I think Lena probably answers the door.
Lena
right?
Lena
Yeah.
answers the door.
Yeah.
I got to talk to you about that TV and about where you got it.
Got it
Oh,
at a yard
oh,
sale. Come on.
Right.
Come on. Follow the
Look, I got Tony.
Hey Tony. High five.
Right.
Follow the really bad guitar music.
So
Skidding into the living room. It's like
Yeah.
John Hughes South.
I'll turn down like the stereo speakers, but I leave the dub going, even though I'm feeling like it's a waste of a tape. I don't know. I'm not going to listen to this one. Um, hey, what's going on?
So that TV that you had me fix. Where
Yeah?
did you got it at a yard sale?
Uh-huh.
You didn't tell me that, but right, that's my Uncle Midas's yard sale. My parents were talking about Uncle Midas was selling a bunch of his stuff all of a sudden, and when I was sitting there at the dinner and eating, and they talked about it, I recognized the TV because I've seen it at his house, and it's like, I think Uncle Midas is in trouble. I mean, why would he suddenly have a yard sale? I mean, Tony, I just saw him the other day, and he was just like having fun and showing us stuff, right, Tony? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not crazy.
I mean, he did seem like he was selling a lot of stuff that he really liked. Like, I mean, I don't know about his specific taste in music, but like he likes a lot of metal and he seemed really like into it. But he was selling all these records and t-shirts and like, yeah, he was selling a lot of stuff.
I think he's in trouble. I think I need to help him. I need you help me help him, or like find out what's going on. I don't want to lose Uncle Midas. I mean, he's the coolest uncle I got. I mean, the other one lives way on the other side of the country, and I don't have to talk to him.
What kind
And
of
that's Dad's brother.
what kind of trouble do you think he's in?
Well, why would you suddenly one day be at work and suddenly start selling all your stuff? I don't know. We got to figure it out. It's a puzzle. We got to figure it out. And he pulls out his Rubik's cube and starts fiddling with like a fidget spinner. It's like,
Well, I
he's
mean,
clearly flustered.
like if assuming that the garage sale was like at his house, it's not far. Do you want to go over there?
And what
Yeah.
else was he selling? Besides TV and
What else did your mom buy?
Folding table. That folding table that it was on.
Dishes and stuff?
Some chairs. Yeah.
The albums?
Well, yeah, the albums.
I mean, that sounds like he's that's like stuff you want to keep, right?
Yeah. There's a weird box of magazines, but whatever.
what kind of magazines?
Grown up stuff. It was just
Oh.
naked people. It was weird.
So, I mean, I think some of these albums are, I'm probably not going to listen to him again. I wouldn't, if he wants them, I'll take them back to him.
Well, maybe we could like use that as the hook to see him. I mean, he might be weird if he showed up just like saying like you didn't like some of these albums and you just want to bring
It's
them
actually
back.
kind of complicated because if he sold them, he might still want to have them. Like he wouldn't really want to be part with them. But if I'm bringing them back just because I'm like saying, here, I bought these, but they suck, so take them back. Like that's
Don't say sucks. It's just they're just not for you. It's like, and
Yeah.
You know what? How about this? I'll ask him what I'll ask him what he thinks is so great about him.
there, yeah. Let's all go.
Sure.
Right?
And you were maybe if you finish recording it, you can be like,
Yeah, I can.
I
stop
already
this
have
one.
it. I have it.
I stop it and I pull it, slip it back, and it's
Yes.
sleep.
No, I think she's done with it.
Yeah.
Like, or you could say, I have a cassette tape of it, so I can. So it's like you can have the vinyl since you seem to like it so much.
Well, you know what? Let's just get over there, and I'll do the talking.
Okay. Okay.
About the albums anyway, but then
Yeah.
you can snoop around or whatever you think you need to do.
I mean, he might be in trouble, in which case, yeah, mom and dad aren't going to do anything. Dad doesn't like Uncle Miles at all. He says he's going a bum. You can see this. This has hurt Daniel deeply to hear this.
Okay, so
But he
we riding
plays
over
with
there?
lasers. Yes, let's right over there.
All right.
Okay, so you're right over to Midas's apartment.
Yeah.
He lives on the third floor of a 3-story house that's been converted to apartments.
Mm.
There's a stairway built on the back of the house that leads up to his front door, even though it's the back of the house.
Mhm.
There's a little kind of vacant lot type. There's a patch of dirt in the back where the people who live there park their cars. And when you get there, you notice that Midas's pickup truck isn't there.
Uh-oh.
You think, is
He can't still be at
or-
work. No, but he doesn't work that late usually.
It's also
Yeah, it's well past the
Saturday.
time. It's quitting
Does he
time.
work on Saturday? I guess I don't know how jobs work.
He doesn't work on Saturday either. From when you know of Uncle Midas, when 5 o'clock comes,
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
out.
he's the clock puncher. Yeah.
Well, maybe he
Yeah.
sold his truck too.
But then how would he get to work or anything? He doesn't have a
Oh,
bike.
you're the one that said he sold everything.
Well, you were the
Let's go see if his stuff is still there.
he's wibbling.
Maybe he moved.
But what did he tell me? Like, why would he tell me? Like, okay,
All
but
right,
he wibbles
had
but
enough of this. I start stomping up the stairs.
It's
okay.
such a wibbler.
Okay. There's a door next to a window, and they both have the blinds drawn on them, so you can't see inside.
I look at
And
Daniel
it's-
like, are you gonna knock or you're gonna make me do it?
Daniel finally stops his wibbling enough to knock, knock, knock. Uncle Midas, you there? You okay?
There's no answer.
Then Daniel gets a dark idea and he turns to Lena. Lena, you open locks, right?
With a crow.
And that when he asks that, Tony will just go and try and
Just try the knob.
turn the knob.
It's locked.
Yeah.
No.
It's locked.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Daniel didn't even try. It's like, yeah, it's like you missed the obvious choice.
Well, if it's a regular lock, I might be able to. But if it's got a deadbolt,
I
Well,
don't know. What kind of-
here.
yeah,
So
it's-
here's the question, Daniel. If we
Yeah.
break your uncle's door, is he gonna be mad?
But if he's in trouble, you'll be okay that we came to check on him. I mean, car gone and selling stuff. I mean, what if he's lying in there unconscious and hurt?
what if he's just at the grocery store?
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, or just like, yeah, somewhere else.
Uncle Midas spends his Saturday nights in his apartment drinking and doing things. I don't think he's at the grocery store. I think grocery store's closed now.
I think.
Daniel's so
I
irrational.
think Courtney fiddles with some cassettes in her backpack, pops one into her boombox, and starts playing. I fought the law and the law, I fought the law and law won, and said, and then I looked to Lena and said, "We're saving someone who might be in trouble."
There's a window
Well,
close by.
There's a window. There's a window there. Yes. It's,
We're going to graduate
you,
to B&E.
You kind of have to lean out to get to it, but because the stairs just lead just up to the doorway, so the window is a little off the side, but it's not so far away you can't reach it.
Okay.
Do you want to try and see if the window is latched?
Yeah.
Okay, so you reach out and you make an athletic force check.
Oh, what?
To show force.
Okay.
That is, you're trying to move something.
Yeah. So that would be.
Get that window open.
Yeah. Body is 4, force is 2, so 6. I did get a success.
Okay, you slide the window open. The door is locked, but the window wasn't latched. It will be now. You're on the 3rd floor. You're a
Right.
significant distance over the ground, but you are also directly over the porch of the 2nd floor apartment. So, if you do slip and fall, it'll only be 1 story,
Okay.
which would be enough to inflict a condition, but it's not going to kill you.
Okay.
So do
And-
you want to climb through that window, perhaps with someone's help?
Yep.
Yes, Tony will
Okay.
help brace, help brace her or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Courtney, there's a moment of feeling fleetingly like I'm not gonna let my sister fall off a balcony. Hey, Lena, what are you doing? Are you like squirming in there so fast I can't stop you, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
This is a move check.
Okay.
Okay. And that's actually 7.
Okay.
7
Roll your dice
die.
with an extra die for help.
Okay, so then that would be 8 die.
Uh,
My move is
Okay.
3, my body is 4.
Okay, so roll your 8 dice.
No. No success.
Okay. So you slip and start to fall. Since Tony is the one who's there, he can try and save you before you hurt yourself. But that will be a force check on his behalf.
okay, maybe this might not have been the smartest idea.
Can I help him with that? As I like.
Yes,
Whoa!
yes, you can help
I
him.
realized
Okay.
just a little bit too late what she was actually planning to do, and it's like, oh God!
Oh, nothing.
Did
no
you roll
successes?
one extra one for my help?
Yep. But that's
Okay.
only 3 die.
Lena falls onto the porch below. What condition would you like?
Um,
You have the options of upset, scared, exhausted, or injured. Injured makes the most sense, but I
Yeah.
could definitely say upset or scared.
I would say injured.
Okay. All right. So we're not talking something that needs a hospital, but you bumped your head pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Lena exists in a perpetual state of having at least one band-aid on somewhere.
Right. So now she's got a reason to have another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I stormed down to the next level on the balcony, and I'm like fussing all over her and just muttering to her. It's kind of like, oh my God, Lena, do you know how mad mom would be at me if I let you get hurt? Just like, but like I'm clearly upset too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think Lena's, got some ow my head hurts tears going on and just
But
yeah.
since you're not taking the upset condition, it passes. And you just have a spreading bruise on your forehead, and maybe a scrape
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah. So
Uh,
can I is there any way to like soothe her or care for her? Like, is that something I can do?
Yes, in your hideout.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so I imagine you're getting like a goose egg on your forehead or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
sitting there going, oh no.
Yeah, and Daniel's like standing in like shock and horror at what happens. Like,
Okay.
Yeah. I
What's
was
Tony
just gonna
doing?
go through the window and unlock the door.
Well, how did that go?
Not great.
Well, there you have it.
Tony,
So who's gonna go open the door?
was looked down at it in shock, and it's like, do you want to try, Daniel?
I'm not good at this sort of stuff. I'll probably break my neck. He winces and then looks down at Lena and like guilt and like, yeah. All right. I'm gonna try. He closes his eyes. I'm gonna try.
Is there looking through this window without having to climb through?
You could kind of lean out and look through the window. Yeah.
Oh
You
God,
kind of
let's try that
push the
first.
blind aside. Yeah, there, right on the other side is a small table. It's about 5 feet diameter. There's a stack of mail on it. Most of it looks like it's been opened, but not all of it. And the inside of the apartment looks dark. And you can smell something kind of resinous and and smoky.
Something in there. I can't figure out what it is.
Make a comprehend check.
Make a comprehend check. Let's see. So my comprehend is a 2. My mind is 4, so that's 6 dice. Let's see how that goes. Now, if I used up all my 6s, I'll be sad. 1 6.
Okay, you recognize the smell of weed.
Oh,
Of what?
Weed.
Weed.
and
Marijuana.
Oh, okay.
The devil's lettuce.
Yes, okay.
Did Daniel? She's like, Uncle Midas is smoking weed, or was smoking weed.
But it's dark in there. I mean,
But
it's
it's
just
dark
like
in
no lights on at all.
Maybe
It's not dark out, so you can see.
He passed. All right. I'm gonna try to get in. And he goes and he tries to
Wait,
do what.
I hurry
Grab
up the
him.
stairs and I say, Daniel, just like try to keep me balanced.
Yeah.
Okay, it is a move check to try to climb in the window.
Yeah.
All right.
So my move check is I was going to try to do it myself instead of you. I don't know if you were.
No, my body is not good at
Yeah.
all. So
Well, mine is
might be-
not great either, but so I get 1 extra die for.
for
Help,
balancing. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Question,
Mhm.
OGM.
Mhm.
Can I put on a song that makes me feel brave on my boombox and use it as an iconic item?
Yes, and then like once per session. So
Okay.
sure,
Yeah.
but you have to tell me what song it is that inspires
Oh
you.
gosh. I'm trying to think of something that would be the appropriate time period.
Don't worry
let's see.
too much about exactly when in the 80s it is.
Yeah. I need a hero.
Okay,
Oh,
fine.
not for a hero till the end of the night. It's a little cheesy for my metal sensibilities, but you know what? Cheesy is okay when you need to be brave. All right.
So you set your boombox on this on the porch outside and
Mhm.
make your attempt.
Okay, and so that's 2 extra die for that, and then 1 for
Uh-huh.
Daniel's help.
One for
Yeah.
Daniel's help. Yep.
Okay. All right. Oh, 2 6s.
Okay. You can. I'm going to say that the bonus that you get is no one notices you. In other words, you don't
Yeah.
like damage or displace
That's
anything on the window.
probably good.
That's it. Yeah. these
So
kids
you
break-
climb in. You are now like on top of this. What's evidently a kitchen table because you're in the kitchen area of this little apartment. And this is a tiny apartment. This is
Mhm.
clearly built like into the attic of the house.
Mhm.
So the ceiling's really low and it's narrow, and there's basically a little kitchen area, room for a sofa and a set of shelves, and then beyond that is a bed. I mean, it's really tiny.
Wow. Yeah. That's basically like a studio. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little studio apartment.
Okay.
And I suppose the first thing you do is like unlock the door so the
Well,
rest can
what
do
I
it.
was going to suggest is that in
Okay.
the appropriate movie trope to this,
Mhm.
even though the obvious thing for me to do would we go to unlock the door,
Mm-hmm.
there would be a moment of exploring the space on my own. But I think what happens is I go to start looking around just a little bit on my own where it's all creepy and dark in there,
Mm-hmm.
and then I realize, oh, that this is the whole thing. Okay. But I don't like see him or anything, right? Obviously, so I guess I would go and
Yeah, the place is too small for there to be any place to hide.
mhm.
Even the bathroom has just got a curtain off on a toilet and a shower.
Okay.
Um,
All right. Well,
So,
I take just long enough for my racing heart to calm a little bit and stop panic hyperventilating.
Courtney, you there, Courtney? You
Yeah,
okay?
and then I unlock the door.
Yeah.
So the first part of it is a little kitchenette area, about 8 feet by 10 feet. There's a table and a chair and a set of counters with a stove. Everything's kind of grubby. Hasn't been cleaned in a while. There's some dishes in the sink. There's some TV dinner boxes overflowing in the trash, and lots of pizza boxes stacked up on top of the refrigerator. And there's, like I said, a stack of mail on the table. Beyond the kitchen is a little sofa on your right, and on the left is a set of shelves. Sitting on that shelf is a little TV set and an Atari system with a couple of games. And on the just to the right of the TV is a stereo, and below that is a stack of records. And then
Right.
beyond that, on the far end of the room, is a bed that's just got some kind of blankets and sheets piled on it. It's looks like it's never been made. And instead of a closet, there's just a pole hanging from wires from the ceiling that have got hangers on it with stuff with, mostly just sets of blue jeans on it, and then there's a pile of t-shirts and things over in the corner. And you smell pot and unwashed laundry and something's probably gone bad in the fridge.
So doesn't seem like he sold all his stuff. There's still a TV and video games and more records. What other are the records in there different? Like, I mean, what are the records that are in here compared to the
It's a
ones
little
that
dark.
he's
Do you want to
selling?
turn on the TV, or you want to turn on the light, or you want to investigate in the dark?
Well, I'd turn
It's
on the
not
light.
real dark, or you could just drag him over to the window.
You know what? I think I'm in the mood of we're doing a secret investigation, so I'll drag
We'll
the
stay in the dark.
albums over to the window.
Make a comprehend check.
Okay, that's I've got 4 for my mind and nothing for anything else. So that's no go. No.
Yeah, it's all the same albums.
That's weird.
What's weird?
Is it the same TV?
Yeah, like is this box like identical to the box he sold me?
You look it over, and you really weren't paying a lot of attention to the box, but yeah, it kind of seems like the
I would
same
think
box.
I would at least recognize a couple of the specific albums that I was interested in. Right?
Yeah,
The
I
ones
mean,
that we
it
talked
is. They are the same albums in the same order as the box that you got.
Yeah, so I look at those guys and I just say like, but well, these are the same. I did some of the ones that I was bringing back out of my backpack, and I showed them like, look, it's the same ones.
Why would they have two? About
You pull out the two albums,
yeah.
one from his box and one from your box,
Mhm.
from your backpack. They're not just the same album. They are the identical item. The wear on the front, because you know how an album gets that like a circle worn into it when it's been
Mhm.
rubbing up against other things. That's exactly the same. There's a scuff mark in the corner. There's a little bit of a raggedy edge on one corner. It's precisely the same.
Is the TV
weird.
the same?
Yeah, yeah. Next,
It's
obvious thing is
exactly
to
the
check-
same make and model.
I'm confused too.
Well, I
Does-
mean,
I'm
guess
trying to
if it-
remember the term, I'm sorry, the thing in Star Trek that fabricates stuff.
replicate.
Replicator?
Yeah. Does he have one?
There's no like stuff in this apartment that looks like weird
I mean,
loop
has
tech
weird-
here.
He has stuff at the scrapyard, but he didn't have a replicator. It says he has a laser though.
Well, there were a lot of pieces of dark tech lying around in the scrapyard. Make an investigate check.
All right. Investigate is 1. My mind is 4, so that's 5 dice.
And if Tony was there too, and if he helps you
Yeah.
reminisce, he can add it
Yeah,
back.
help me
yeah.
me out here, Tony. Remember
Oh
what
yeah,
you
I
saw.
definitely would.
No successes.
Yeah. Nothing comes immediately to mind.
Kind of wish had I
I rolled
done
3
it.
5s. No
Well,
sixes.
so if he had two of everything, no wonder he's selling extra ones.
But two of the exact same thing? That doesn't make sense. It's like, so where is he now?
That's a good question. You said he's always here, and his truck isn't here, so it sounds like he's not always here. He's actually somewhere else. Where is that? Would he be at work?
Not at this hour. He when work's over, he says when the clock is 5, it's time to fly.
Well, yeah, except that he's not here, so
Is there some other place he might be after work?
I don't know. Bar maybe.
He
You
does
can't
he
keep going to
does
bar.
socialize, he does go out. So it's not he does go to parties, he does go to places like that. So he's not always home, but
Maybe we might check other places he might be.
you're not
What
sure
time is it?
where
What
that. I
time
mean,
is it?
aside from the scrapyard, aside from
Yeah,
Pearson's,
aside from the
you don't know where-
scrapyard.
yeah,
I
like
don't
we're
know
not
any
just gonna
place.
like drive around, ride around all over town. I mean,
No.
Hmm.
What time
besides,
is it
it
now?
seems like he's maybe not in trouble. Like we thought he was selling all his stuff, but I guess he just had, I don't know, extras.
But he extras are exactly the same. There's
I don't
something
know
weird
what your
going on.
uncle
Yeah.
gets up to. He seems like kind of a weird guy to me.
Yeah, but I love him.
Somebody
Okay,
asked
sure.
the time. It's about 7 p.m. It's about an hour before sunset.
Okay, so maybe
Hi.
If you want to be back
Yeah.
by dark, you kind of have to leave.
Yeah, I think
Well,
we need
Yeah.
before we leave, I'm gonna try turning on the TV. See if
Mhm. Yeah, it works fine.
does it work?
Works fine. Not quite as well as after Daniel had fixed the other one, but it works.
Okay. Did Tony look through the mail?
I mean, if had opportunity, yes, he would have.
Okay. It's mostly bills, but you do find one letter, a formal letter with like letterhead and everything, which is threatening eviction from a couple of months ago. But the deadline on it has passed, so it looks like he didn't get evicted.
So, I mean, Daniel, I mean, I want to help you with your uncle or whatever, but if you don't want to go look at his work, I don't know what else we can do here.
No, yeah, I think maybe we go tomorrow. It's getting late. Your parents mad and
This story exists in the kind of alternate time where parents don't pay a gigantic amount of attention to where
okay.
their kids
So
are.
okay. So okay. Oh,
So
so
you
okay.
can get away with being out after dark. Your parents kind of want you to call in and tell them where you are
Okay.
and who you're with and that kind of thing.
I have
but-
forgotten a bit about the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay. So retcons like let's go to the scrapyard. Maybe he's there.
I think isn't it like part of the game's world building that parents are sort of, without exception, unhelpful and disinterested?
Yep. And also
Okay.
do not interfere very much.
Yeah.
So you hop on your bike, and because Daniel and Tony have been there before, you know how to get to Pearson Salvage. But it's a bit of a ride. So by the time you get there, it is dark. It is dark. Now, night falls in the desert pretty fast. You know, the sun hits the horizon, it's dim, and the sun crosses it, and it's dark.
Yeah.
So you see that same scene of Pearson Salvage, with but it is now the only light on is just one light in the tower part of the office.
Would we have flashlights at all?
You tell me, is that the kind of thing that you would carry around? I imagine Lena does.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Lena
Right.
would be
Lena
smart enough to
certainly
actually-
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the rest of you? Is that the kind of thing you would carry?
No, I don't think Daniel doesn't go on these adventures that often, so he wouldn't think to carry one.
Okay.
If Tony was expecting an adventure before he left, he would have grabbed a flashlight.
If you want to, you can stop off at home and grab one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Lena would have grabbed a Band-Aid,
Mhm.
grabbed her flashlight, grabbed her trusty crowbar.
Okay.
Yeah, that might be very useful in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you ride out back to Pearson's Salvage. It's dark, except that there's a bunch of floodlights aimed down into the impound lot section. And so that really kind of that area is really becoming kind of all you can see as you get close.
That's just where the cars are. Where
Yeah.
where Uncle
Yeah.
Midas works is over there. He points in the dark, like over there.
Does
Do we have to go through the light to get to that part?
You do if you want to go through the gate, and the gate to that section is closed right now. So there's a
Okay,
fence
well.
around the whole. There's a fence around the whole thing,
Mhm.
but it mostly is like connecting these big rusting hulks to each other.
Is it just like
Um,
chain link fence or?
Yeah, just chain link fence. The section that has the cars on it has got a really high fence, but you could probably sneak into the back through one of these big empty machines if you had a mind to.
Oh yeah, Lena
Oh, yeah.
is absolutely heading that way.
Okay.
I think when we stopped over for could we have stopped at our hideout and I try to get an ice pack for for Lena?
Sure. Yeah, let me just make sure that I'm doing it correctly here. Yeah, I'm just going to say without looking too closely into it. I'm not going to spend the time right now. But yeah, at the hideout, you are able to clear the injured condition.
Okay.
But that means that you get to the Pearson Salvage even later.
Okay.
It is
Um,
really dark now.
It is really dark now, and it's got that kind of creepy place out in the middle of nowhere. It's outside of town a ways, and there's nothing out here aside from this place. But yeah, you crawl through one of these big rusting hulks, and every sound you make just seems to echo so much. And I would like you to collectively make a sneak check.
Okay.
And I just
Sounds
want to
like-
know how many successes the bunch of you make.
So we're all rolling our own.
All rolling and total up the number of successes we get.
Okay.
Oh God, I'm not going to help up this one. Well, let's see.
None from me.
2.
Okay. One from Tony. How about Daniel?
0.
Okay, so there's 3 successes for the bunch of you. There's definitely some echoing around, and at one point, a flashlight beam comes out from that tower at the machine that you're crawling through, and kind of plays over it. But you duck down, and you wait, and nothing happens. So you haven't been seen, but someone is definitely there, and you're pretty sure they heard something. So
Might come any moment, so we got to move quickly.
So
you
who else
So you
would
head
even be
down-
here?
Night watchman, make sure people don't steal their cars back.
I'm just saying, like, if we think Midas is here, should we just yell out for him?
What?
Let's
Did
go
we
to
see
where he
his
works
car?
first.
Did we look for his truck?
Yeah, was there any cars when we arrived?
The main parking lot out in front is empty. Well, no, sorry, it has one. There's one car there, but it's not. It's not Midas's truck.
Okay.
But as you are crawling around, you come out at like a spot next to the scrapyard area,
Mhm.
and your flashlight beam comes down on a set of tire tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Well,
Somebody make an investigate check.
I will. Okay, make sure the numbers. Okay. I got 2 success.
Okay. In addition to telling you that these are the right kind of tire tracks to be Midas's truck, you can ask one of the other questions there under investigate.
Let me get to the
Yeah.
right thing.
Courtney's
Yeah, it's page
watching this
75.
happen and saying, "What is this, Magnum PI?"
Um,
Oh no,
Might be losing David here.
I might be losing David.
I see where the vehicle is that left the tracks. Like, where is it?
Where is it now? It's definitely
Like,
not.
can I?
Yeah, it came in and left again. There's a set of questions under investigate mind on page 75. You get to ask one
Yeah.
of those questions.
Do you-
You want what has happened here?
Sure. Yeah. That
Okay.
might.
Midas drove his truck up to the back of this yard, basically driving through the desert to get here, backed it up to this section of fence, went in, and then came back out again, and then drove away.
Right.
Oh, he is missing now. He is running. I'm assuming that we're told what Tony
Is-
finds.
Is there like? I guess.
the tire tracks just go off into the desert?
Looks like it. Is there anything missing from in there, or can we even tell?
There is a
Okay.
section of the fence that the tracks lead up to that's been pretty clearly made to be easy to get in and out of.
Ah.
It kind of you know how a hurricane fence will roll up if it's not connected to things. It's made.
Yeah.
It's got a loop of wire holding it closed, and if you just unscrew that, the whole thing will roll out of the way.
Okay.
Well, we should see if we can get in, and then see if we can spot maybe something that's missing.
Well, but how would we know it's missing? I think we should follow the tracks. They were looking for Midas, right?
Yeah, we don't know what we missed. I mean, Uncle Midas had a lot of stuff. I mean, we can look and see if there's anything big missing, but I think it might. I mean, if it was like a circuit board or something, we wouldn't even know. What do you think, Lena?
I think that this is a big place with a lot of stuff. And maybe if he's trying to make some money, maybe he took something and sold it. Or he's trying to get rid of the duplication machine. Either way, I think we're probably best off following him rather than trying to figure out what's going on here. because I mean it's too, I don't know what is supposed to be here.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
know
I
about his
don't
ankle
want to
grinder.
wander around a creepy old salvage yard when we definitely know that the person we're looking for isn't here.
Yeah, Tony, put a pin in that. We need to come back to wander around the creepy old salvage yard.
How
Okay.
can
So
would I be able to tell how far away that hazmat suit like would be, or
this
like
this part of the fence that you're coming through comes out right next to the workshop area. That hazmat suit is just like right around the corner from you.
well, so like kind of put shine the flashlight and
You
see
shine just kind of peek through and look around.
like just or like not actually going through the fence, just like is there
Okay.
anything obvious?
Okay, make an
From-
investigate check.
Okay. Uh, 3 successes.
Okay, the tracks lead right past the workshop. He doesn't pay any attention to it. The tracks lead right past the workshop over to some junk nearby. And there's and not only is the tracks of his feet there, but it looks like the power cable that that was connected to the laser cutter has also been moved back and forth to the machine that's over in the junk area and then back again.
I think whatever he took, he used a laser to cut it.
Laser. Oh.
Or the power cord to charge it, maybe. Maybe he got
Maybe.
something working.
Yeah, there's a lot of junk here. I mean, he takes things apart, he says, and then usually the loop takes the stuff and makes it work, but maybe he got something to work himself, like the duplication machine.
Mm-hmm.
And now maybe he's running because I don't know. This feels like an episode of Twilight Zone.
Can I, maybe I don't have enough to go on, especially if I don't know him very well, except for just his stuff and everything. But I guess I'm just trying to get a sense of
Mm-hmm.
what would his mindset be? Because he didn't seem scared or anything at the garage
No,
sale, right? He's just making
no.
money.
Yeah, he seemed he seemed well. I think an empathize check is a retrospective empathize check is in order.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know that Lena could help because she really wasn't paying that much attention to him.
Empathize is one of my good skills, so I'm probably
Okay.
see how it goes. That's one success.
He seemed to be almost like he seemed up. It was upbeat, and almost like he seemed like he was putting something over on someone. He was executing
Well,
brilliant plan.
yeah. So I'll tell everyone. It's like, when we saw him at the garage sale, like what we know now is like he didn't seem like scared or worried. He seemed like he was having fun because he could figure out how to make copies of his stuff and he was selling it for money. Like, I don't think he's running. I think we just need to find him.
Okay,
He's
so
being sneaky, but
Yeah.
he's not like scared.
okay, maybe now we should try and follow the tracks.
Okay, let's follow the tracks.
Okay, so you hop on your bikes and you head out into the desert, going along, following the tracks. The tracks go a fairly short distance, maybe a quarter of a mile before they come to a dirt road, and then head back toward the city. You can't really see his tracks anymore, but you see kind of from the way that they pull onto the road, it's going in that direction. That's going in that direction. So where do you head now?
Well, I mean, if we continue to try to follow wherever we
Okay.
think the truck must have gone, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can't follow. There's no tracks anymore because you're on this dirt road.
Okay.
But it's headed back into town, so you could go back to his apartment if you wanted.
I mean, I guess.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you ride back to his apartment, and as you kind of pull up there, and it's now getting really kind of late. It's like 9 o'clock. And you've been biking a lot now. You're
we're sort of
We're tired.
you're starting to feel tired. It's
I-
not
also-
enough to have a condition yet, but you're getting there.
Yeah.
And his truck is parked out in back of his apartment.
He's there.
And there's a
There's
tarp. There's a tarp over the back of the pickup truck, and you can see a light on up in his apartment.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to overthink this because I'm a 13-year-old kid who loves his uncle. So Daniel's going to just jump off his bike and run up the stairs toward the apartment.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. How about the rest of you?
Lynn is going to look under the tarp.
I'm going
All
with
right,
Daniel.
all right. That's pretty unanimous. So yeah, Daniel goes up. You knock on the door.
Yeah.
So Courtney followed with Daniel.
Okay. So yeah, he is like, hold on, and he opens up the door. He's like, oh hey, Danny, my man, what you doing? This is
I was
middle of
worried
night.
about. I was worried about you because
You're worried about me?
mom and dad were talking about you were selling all your stuff at a
Oh,
auction,
it's fine. Don't worry.
I thought maybe you got kicked out of your apartment or you kicked out of your job, but you were having so much fun with the laser cutter and all that stuff. Oh, this is my friend Courtney. Courtney, this is my Uncle Midas.
Hi, Court.
She bought some of your stuff. So it's like when it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what do you think of Anvil, man? Is that the best band ever, or what?
I'm glad you like it. So are you okay? Because Daniel's kind of been dragging us all over the place trying to help you, but it seems like you're okay.
Oh yeah, I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Does
Yeah,
he
no,
seem
don't worry
fine?
about
I
Yeah,
mean, is he
yeah, it
acting just
doesn't-
the same as before?
Yeah.
Or?
it.
Yeah.
Make an empathize check.
All right.
I'm not good at empathize. I'll let you do it. But maybe I can help you since I know him.
Should I add one?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
help. You can kind of share a look.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, that's still just one, but it's one.
Yeah,
What's the
yeah.
test?
He's definitely holding something back.
Hmm.
In the meantime,
meantime.
in the
We're
meantime,
also playing good cover for these two. So
yes. So you're looking into that tarp.
Oh yeah,
Um,
because secrets.
yeah. Let me get to the right part of the thing here. So you look under the tarp and you shine your flashlight under there, and what you see is 2 sewing machines.
That are exactly alike.
Yeah, they're portable sewing machines that come with like a plastic dome that goes over the top.
Uh huh.
And in fact, Tony recognizes it because the same model as Grandma used. And it's a portable sewing machine. 2 of them.
Lena will look over. Will lean close to Tony and go, "Duplication ray."
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I was trying to sneakily whisper,
duplicate ray.
but duplication ray.
Oh, going back to Courtney and Daniel. So it's like,
are you sure you're okay? Something's wrong? You can tell me, Uncle Midas.
all right.
Is it about the duplication ray?
Did you say that aloud?
Yeah.
Oh man, okay, yeah, okay, all right. So there's this machine. They called it the Banach-Tarski machine. And if you put something into the middle part, close the lid, and it's got power. And I got power, right? Because they give me power for the laser cutter. Plug in the power, put something in the middle part. The machine like hums and stuff. And then there's two side parts, and you open them up, and each one of them is going to have the thing. So I duplicated all my stuff and I sold it. And now I got my own copies and I got some money. And so I went out to your mom and borrowed her sewing machine and told her I was going to take up a new hobby. And then I made a copy of it, and I'm going to sew one and give your mother back hers.
Wait, so are there three of them? You put it in the middle, and then there's one in each side one, or is it?
You put it in the middle, and you close the door, and then it hums and shit. And you open up the two side doors, and there's one in each of those, and the one in the middle's gone.
Oh, so it takes the middle one and makes two copies. It kind of like
Makes
that's we just saw the Star Trek episode where you got the two Kirks when we beamed up. Kind of
Except these are just things, so neither of them are evil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been like borrowing shit so that I can get a little extra cash. That's all.
I'm glad you're okay, but won't the people, the loop people, be mad that you're using this machine?
Not if nobody tells them, man.
I think it's
So you-
awesome.
So I tell you what. It's a little late tonight, but you come around again tomorrow night. Come around to the scrapyard and sneak in because you don't want Pearson's nephew is the guard there, and he's a real asshole. So you don't want to like him to notice you. But as long as you don't go into the impound yard where the cars are, he doesn't care. Well, he doesn't care, but he doesn't notice because all he cares about is the cars. And come around and bring some of your I don't know, video games or whatever you want, and so you can share it with your friends, and we'll make some copies. But just don't. But just to hear. But let me.
Wide.
But promise me, man, that you're not going to do it when I'm not there, because that power cable is from pretty serious business, and I wouldn't want you to get hurt. But
Promise.
Absolutely
Promise.
But
I make a Vulcan salute. Player can't do it, but
Yeah, Courtney does one of these, a shocker. Or
yeah, all right. You got it. Anyways,
the devil ones,
you meet me there tomorrow night, and we'll duplicate some stuff. All right.
okay.
All right.
Thank you, Uncle Midas.
Yeah. Just make sure it's dark because otherwise Peterson's nephew might see us. Just come after dark. All right. Yeah, everything's cool. Don't worry about it. Everything's just fine.
so I think Courtney is increasingly thinking like it's the dilemma between this guy's very cool because he swears and he likes metal music and he's like friendly and helpful to us, but on the other hand he lives in a tiny apartment and it's kind of messy and dirty and it's like so it's just kind of this feeling of ambivalence of like this guy's kind of cool but he also might be kind of a loser.
Yeah, he does. He definitely has some loser vibes to him.
Well, especially just like the understanding about his the music of just like he listens to it, but he doesn't get it. But I definitely want to see a machine that can turn one thing into two things. So.
Okay. So I think we're going to end here with
right.
the MacGuffin of the story having been revealed.
Haha.
Aha.
So is there a second half of this or?
Oh yeah, there's more. There's
All
more.
right.
There's more things that can happen.
So
But
perhaps,
you've been very proactive and kind of moved in on things very early in the progression of events. So
well, so perhaps we will revisit this story in Boulder City, Nevada next week for more Tales of the Loop on so many levels.
Yay!
And then we will
Yay.
return to root after that.
All right.
It sounds like an excellent plan.
All right,
Yeah.
so thank you everybody for listening and or watching, and we'll be back for more adventure on so many levels.
Yay!
Yay.
Yes.